just a bloke in a bar.
What is up, ladies and gentlemen? Welcome to another episode of Bloke in a Bar. And before I get into it, guys, we have a huge sale. Next week, on the 24th of November to the 2nd of December, we'll be kicking off our Grumpy Coffee Black Friday sale. We'll be running two massive promotions, 25% off 1 kilo every day in very grumpy whole beans and ground. But also, we know how much you love all the beans, so make sure you stock it up. We have 25% off capsule bundle deal as well. The bundle deal is a pack of 3 boxes of pods. So trust me, get there, get amongst this sale. We don't do them often with Grumpy. It is going to go for an entire week from the 24th to the 2nd of December. And yeah, it's great coffee. It's rated 85. It's got an 85 cupping rating, which means it's like as a blend, that's some of the best you can get. Single source can get a little bit better, but it's as a blend, you will not be disappointed. And I got quite a few messages on the weekend, actually. I got 2 or 3. Look, I don't know if 2 or 3 counts for quite a few. I don't know if that means that meets the threshold of saying quite a few, but it was 2 or 3 people that was like, wow, this coffee is actually really good. They say, actually, like, it doesn't offend me a little bit. Like, I'll be some weirdo that would be like not putting out good products, but let's put that aside. They said it was good. That's all that matters. grumpycoffee.com.au. Make sure to be there. We've got a brand new guest. Nott, how you going, brother?
Hey, brother. Thank you. I've never been to Mount Rushmore in my life, but I feel like that's what we feel like. You know what I mean? Being around the legends. But thank you for having me. Pretty stoked. I was like, when you messaged on Thursday, I was like, what the heck? I was on the bike, like, how do I reply? Backspacing? Like, nah, he won't like that.
No, I appreciate it. Mount Rushmore, the stone used for this beak would have cost this nation a fortune. And speaking of nations, you've walked in here with look, I'm all for a proud man. But I feel like you're kind of staunching me a little bit with that Samoan flag on your jumper there. So I just thought, just to even it out, I might decide to hang this here for the rest of the show because I don't want to get staunched in my own studio. Are you trying to staunch me in my own studio?
I would never do that. You know, as Samoans, we're really respectful.
Yeah.
But we choose when we want to be respectful. You've caught me out there. You've caught me out.
You know what? I'm going to go one further. I've never done this before, and it's going to make me feel like a UFC fighter.
Oh, there we go.
There we go. The famous... Look, I will not be staunched in my own studio, mate, so I'm just going to wrap these over my own shoulder. Oh, shit. I've always wanted to do that, you know, like those UFC fighters when they walk out and they're like, let's go on, I've got a fucking basher. So I'm going to sit like this for the rest of the show, just so people know I'm representing the nation. No, all love. First of all, mate, how'd you got a TikTok page?
Yeah, I have a TikTok page. I think growing up, Mount Druitt loved the game. Unfortunately, the game didn't love me. Yeah, I was the smallest lock, getting dominated every carry, every tackle. Yeah. But I was like, I love footy, love talking X's and O's, so I thought, try to learn as much as I can. And then, a few of my mates wanted to jump on board, closer mates, and now we've got the I'm Easy podcast on TikTok. Yep. Go there, watch it, make sure you entertain, comment. If you don't like it, comment even more.
I like it. So you know the game, bro. You know the game. Now, you are potentially going to get the audio version too, so you can go on Spotify and Apple?
Yeah,
potentially.
Yeah, we'll get there in time. I think the help of Matty.
Yep.
The great. We'll find a way there, We're just grinding for at the moment.
He's known as Matty the Water Boy to me. Matty the Great does have a bit of a ring to it, to be honest. We'll just work on that. We'll have a speak about it. Well, you know what? We'll have a meeting about that later, Matty. See if you can
If you're on the I'm Easy, then you'll be Matty the Great.
And, mate, there's actually a clip on your TikTok kicking from the sideline. Is that AI or what?
That was probably AI. I probably worked 40 hours just to get that right. But... Yeah.
You got it right.
Well, I tried to. I think playing in New Zealand, playing in Auckland.
Union or league?
I played league first, and then moved over to Union. It just got we had a good coach, and he taught me so much about the game. Yeah, like X's, O's, splits, all that stuff. So I was just like, I didn't have the body for it, but I need to get better. Yeah, one way I can try to stay on the field if I can kick goals.
Oh, I swear. Okay, so you got it.
Like you didn't have the body for it and you were too small playing lock forward. Mate, goal kicking winger. It was an easy transition for you.
There you go. I tell you what, he's someone, he's too humble. As an Aussie, I'm just like, bro, I was a man. I was literally the man growing up. That's what I say all the time. Mate, Timmy, how you going, brother?
I'm good. And you've got another cracker of a guest on, mate. You've actually nailed them very well over the last month or two.
Look, if there's one thing I'm okay at looking at a bit of talent and say, hey, he's got something about him, that guy.
And that's something he had about him.
Except for you, obviously.
Another Raiders fan, mate.
Another Raiders fan. Oh, my God, bro.
Maybe not for longer.
Speak to me. What's going on here? So you're off the Raiders. I like that chat.
Choose your words very carefully.
Yeah, scary man. He doesn't look like much, but can throw him.
I've seen. So growing up Canberra fan, I love the MILF. One of my favourite players. Unfortunately, went to a worse.
I think we were all a fan of the MILF growing up, to be honest.
In the Broncos, but like moving back from Auckland, we settled in kind of the West Tigers area. 5 minutes from Leichhardt, 2 minutes from Leichhardt, Concord Oval. Sorry, and just want to be a part of it. You know, I love supporting your local team, getting out there, going out. Like Leichhardt's going to close down for renovations. So might as well.
It got approved, didn't it? Yep. Yeah, sweet.
I was thinking, want to be a part of the community, get to the game, support, claws out.
Oh shit! Claws out. He did the claws out in front of you. Disrespect, bro. That's disrespect.
Bringing it up with the MILF, the great MILF era, back in about 2014 or so.
Oh, what an era it was!
One of the greatest YouTube packages of all time is going back and looking at the old MILF highlights, and make sure be careful with what you're googling when you put it in. But
I've got a call many times. I'm like, what's that? Mum, trust me,
it's Anthony's highlights.
It's the left footstep.
But mate, you can't turn your back for the Tigers.
I know.
Of all clubs, like.
It's the only place with affordable rent.
Yeah.
I will say, and look, I don't want to turn this into a therapy session, but do you hate yourself, or like is that? Because like, look, I know like Hammy's not here; he'd be high fiving, but let's just say, tough club to follow. Respectfully, of course.
I do love hating myself, and so I think you nailed it spot on. How more can I hate myself than going for the West Tigers?
The minor prems to respectfully, like they were stoked with 12. Like, I mean, and look, to be honest, Raiders are going to fall off anyway, so who gives a shit? They already stole one of their players. But you know my yarn about that. They're clearly preparing him to come back to the Broncos for years.
Kobe Buck's going to take us to a premiership, the promised land, mate.
I think we can't forget also, minor premiers, also the Tigers have the Galvin Cup. So we're like one-on-one with titles, with trophies.
Yeah, that's true. The Galvin Cup. So go to TikTok. Is there any other? Are you going to open any like Instagram or YouTube's, or they call it the Facebook? The older people, the Facebooks. Do you do that at all?
Definitely try to get on the Facebook. We'll try to get on all platforms: YouTube, OnlyFans, whatever you want. Like really,
OnlyFans. Holy shit!
Patreon.
Holy shit! You know what? Maybe I should start an OnlyFans. Like, is there any beak fetishes out there? Like, there's foot fetishes.
There will be.
Surely there's some beak fetishes out there.
I would be your first subscribers. How much do we need to subscribe?
Hey, well, my wife, I mean, she's a subscriber, surely. If your wife wouldn't subscribe to your OnlyFans, you got a problem. You got a problem, seriously. So maybe that's how you can test a marriage, just saying. Anyway, let's get into it, shall we? Now, Hammy isn't here. Hammy's not here. He's gallivanting around. I don't know, cricket or something's on. You know how little I know about cricket? I went for a jog yesterday, so fast, so fit, so like killed it. Not really, actually. Fucking hurt. You know what is the worst? One of the worst things about being a former athlete is you realize how much of a piece of shit you've become because you have something to kind of measure yourself against. Anyway, running around, and I was like, "Oh, hey, bro, like, what are you?" There was a guy like doing the lines or whatever, and I was like, "Oh, hey, is it like a summer soccer league or something like that?" And he looked at me like, "Is this fucking serious?" It's like, "It's cricket, mate." And I was like, "Oh, okay." Just kept running. So that's how little I know about cricket, allegedly, of course. So Hammy's over in Adelaide, correct? Canberra, sorry. But he's going to go to the Adelaide test.
Yeah.
Yes, I think he's going to go to the Adelaide test. So he's not here this week, but as always, a massive thank you to Sportsbet, guys. Goes without saying, we're going to put our tips in at the end of the show, so make sure to stay tuned for that. Alrighty, sad announcement, guys. Breaks me heart. We spoke about it last week, but the Menulog Hungriest Player, it feels weird to say this. It's done. It's gone. Look, obviously, unless we replace it with someone else or whatever, but Menulog have shut down in Australia. Like, that segment's been around since the dawn of time when it comes to this podcast, essentially.
It's a rusted on segment.
Oh, man. And like, it was such a good deal because you got like a discount on food. We all order food to our home, use the code. And we know it was such a good deal because thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people used it. Tens of thousands of people used it.
I had a dude come up to me once and told me that he's never missed a week at putting the code in. Not once.
Well, like last year, we had like 60,000 codes used.
It's crazy.
Like, bro, and it's gone, it's done. So listen, first of all, massive, hope everyone obviously that's employed there is all good. That's the main focus. People have lost their jobs, and that freaking sucks. They've been so good to work with for so many years, guys. I cannot express how great these people have been. And I said it last week, but I'll say it again. Like, a lot of people like to talk about like, oh, I support this or I support that. But they never put their money where their mouth is. Like, whereas our partners, And I didn't. And I'll be honest, I'm guilty of this myself when I was younger. Like I didn't really appreciate what sponsors do for certain brands like ourselves or companies like ourselves. It wasn't until I got a bit older, like maybe late 20s, where I really started to think, hang on a sec, that's money that could go anywhere else that's going to you to help you do what you're doing. So Menulog, you know, at a time where, and it still is the case, getting sponsors on a podcast, we're very fortunate that we're one of the biggest ones, but getting on sponsors on the podcast, big brands still are hesitant to do it. And there's multiple reasons for that. We could get into why, but they are still hesitant. Menulog jumped on board years ago and backed us in, put their money where their mouth was for years and years and years. And they've been so good to work with. They've never had an issue, never had a drama, never felt like they were pushing too much or too little. They were always very understanding. So just want to say a massive thank you to the team. And what's crazy, it was multiple teams too in that time. A massive thank you to the crew at Menulog. Sucks that it's gone. Maybe we fill it with something else, I don't know, to try and give a code out for Food House. I'm not sure, but unfortunately at the moment, it is gone. It is gone. So tear to the eye, genuinely makes me sad. Like it feels like, I don't know, it's just been a part of the show for so long. It's just been a part of the show. Sucks, man. Sucks. So thank you, Menulog. Thank you so much for your support. When I say we wouldn't be where we are today without Menulog, I 100% mean that. And Matty, you can back me up there. Like,
yeah, I mean, I think what I said before was perfect. Like rusted on. They've been here for years and years and years, and they've been so supportive. And that the main thing is for me, like they've been so great to work with, every single one of them. And people have changed. Like they've had personnel changes, and every one of them been great. So yeah, no, it sucks.
Oh man, and just the support every year. Yeah, we're keen to go again. Yep, let's have a chat. Like these are our budgets. This is what we can do. This is what we can't do.
Well, we'd already pretty much agreed to next year.
We'd already agreed to next year. That's how much this came out of left field. Really, like everything was locked in for next year. Anyway, sad days. But first of all, thank you to Menulog. Second of all, thank you to everyone that supported us so far. The more you guys engage with our partners, the more likely we are to get partners. And, you know, like obviously long term, I would love to have all this money in the bank where we don't have to worry about losing a sponsor or whatever. We're not there yet. And so when people do come on as big sponsors, it is really important to us to help us get to that point. So thank you, Menulog. Okay. The next segment brought to you by KR, friends over at KR. Also someone that's been with us for years now, Zac Lomax. This is the KR can't miss moment. All the news, everything breaking, everything's going on KR that you can check it out. So make sure not to miss it. Also, obviously cricket, it's happening. It's all on KR as well. They've got the grade cricketer on KR as well, which you can get all their content that they've done with KR there. And the NBA season has begun. But let's get into it. Zac Lomax. The Eels have officially released Zac Lomax from his contract. They released a statement as well. This has been something that's brewing for a while. Look, the report is that he will not be able to play for any other NRL clubs if he decides to, go back to rugby league in the next 4 years, or at least for the length of his contract that he signed with the Eels. Basically looking like Rugby 360 is a done deal. Now, it hasn't been confirmed. We're still yet to see that, but I highly doubt he would be doing this if that wasn't the case. I will say, if it is the case that Lomax and Eels were both like, this is what we want, then I wholeheartedly support Zac Lomax. Like if the Eels really sat him down and he sat down with them and they were both agreeing like, you know what, we're paying you $650K. That's not how we want our salary cap to work. We want it, to have less money in the wingers and centers, and we actually want to spend that somewhere else. And Lomax was like, all right, sweet, I'll go explore other options. I wholeheartedly support Zac Lomax and think it's incredible what he's achieved by getting this massive deal. So I want to be really clear with that, because if that is the case, I just don't know if that was the case. I don't think it's.
I would be very surprised if that were the case.
Pretty tough to lose Zac Lomax and Dylan Brown in 1 year as well.
Huge. Look, I totally understand where Zac Lomax is coming from. This is life-changing money. It's most likely going to be tax-free, all that good stuff. I get it. I got to say though, I hate this. I really don't like how this has played out. I'll get more into it, my opinion more deeply, but I want to go to you boys first. Mate, what do you reckon?
I'm a bit torn on it, eh? Like, obviously for a player, like that could be life-changing, like generational money. You get to set up your family or parents and things like that. But yeah, I think what we were talking about earlier, after kind of what happened at the Dragons with him and then leaving to go to Parramatta, you don't have the best season, but they're trying to build new coach, like showing signs of improvement, and then you've jumped ship again. And I'm like, is that really I don't want to talk about people, but is that really the best move you could have made? Always happy for people to get their money. And probably the biggest thing about this is if New South Wales lose their Stonewall winger, goal kicker, how do we replace that? But yeah, I think it's so like you can be on either side.
Yeah,
like you can be player first or team first, but it's just I don't know. It's just such a
tough decision. Yeah, what would you do in that situation?
Also, like it makes rugby 360 a real thing.
Yeah, true.
Like, it's actually just been around in the waters, and people are like, oh, 360 this, 360 that. Payne Haas might sign, he might not sign. And then you see Zac Lomax sign, you're like, oh, it's real.
Yeah,
and we could be losing some of the stars of the game. That's
a good point. Great. Yeah, it's a good point. It's a good point, Timmy.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing is for Zac Lomax, like I don't begrudge him at all. I think I saw a thrown about 1.6 Aussie dollars million. So, with very little tax to pay or whatever the setup is there, he's looking at 3 times the amount of money per season. That sort of stuff that's going to set him up for life. So I get it why he's made the move. The break in the contract at the Eels, who put faith in him in a time where he was going okay at the Dragons, and then he absolutely lit up and he'd made his move over. And they
played Origin.
Yeah, played Origin as a result of it. And he's, they're building such a great thing there, the Eels, and now they lose a bloke that, they've, I'm not saying they've built around a winger.
He played Origin at Dragons because he moved to the wing. Apologies,
yeah.
Incorrect.
Yeah. But the faith that Jason Riles and the club put in him then to leave 1 year into the contract, it sucks, it hurts. From a general footy fan, Blues will lose a winger, Australia lose a winger, the game will be fine without Zac Lomax. I said, I don't begrudge him leaving, but at the end of the day, a winger leaves the competition. There's so much talent coming through the grades. Rugby league will be fine as a result of this.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm torn too. You know what? I'm not torn. I don't like it. Just because I get it. Huge contract. And listen, if he had have left, because he left Dragons a year early too, didn't he?
Yeah.
I think it was a year early. If that didn't happen, I could just be like, listen, you kind of get one of these in your life where you just go, guys, look at this. It's 1 point whatever million. Come on. The thing that just frustrates me a little bit, well, not frustrates me because I'm not sitting there getting angry about it or whatever. But actually, you know what? It does frustrate me. I'll be honest. It does. When I see the immediate reaction is, oh, it's life-changing money. When did we become just like money trumps everything? He's already on $650,000 a year. It's not like he's on 50K and he can't pay his bills. I don't know, man. And I get it. People are just going to throw back in my face, and you'd take it. I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. When I went to the Warriors, I said no to hundreds of thousands of dollars more money with other clubs because I'd already verbally given my word through my manager. And so and look, that's different to, instead of, I think I was on 90 grand Australian at the Warriors. Yes, I understand. And the other contracts I probably could have got would have been over a 3 or 4 year period, maybe $300,000 or $400,000 more money. So I get it. That's not like $1 million more money. But I don't know. Look, probably the old bleeding heart guy. But we just come so quickly as a society, money trumps everything. Everything. It's like he's going to get $1 million more. Doesn't matter. He had a contract. Doesn't matter about the fact that he left Dragons early to get a new lease on life that we kind of all went, yeah, okay, with a new lease on life. It just doesn't feel right that it's a 4-year deal. And a 4-year deal. The double, 19 games, bro.
Yeah, the double contract breaking, that hurts. And the other thing is, he's 26. So it's we don't know if, R360 is going to be around for 1 year, 2 years, 5 years, 10 years, whatever. But, a few more years of your Eels contract, play it out, help build this club, the word you've given there. It's if this thing stays around, which it probably will, you're 26, there's going to be opportunities to sign big money with them in the future.
And also, again, I want to go back to, bro, do you know how much $700,000 a year is? Do you know how much money that is? And I guess you ask the question, let's just, worst case scenario, he earns an extra, we'll just say $1.5 million just flat in the bank extra. The question I have to ask is $1.5 million in your life worth your integrity? Now, I'm not saying Zac Lomax is a bad bloke because I think most people in that situation, anyone can understand why he'd do this. So I'm not sitting here going, bad bloke or whatever. I just hate the fact that we so quickly say, oh, life-changing money. Life-changing money. It's bro, it's a 4-year deal, man. I don't know. As I said, maybe I'm the old guy being fucking pathetic. I don't know. What do you reckon, Matty?
Yeah, I got no problem going to 360. Jai Gray, if he went, I would have had no problem. Payne Haas, if he's copping this deal, no problem. But the difference is they're not breaking any contracts. And I think that because it is the first year of a 4-year deal, there's just no way he can come back for the next 3 years. This 10-year deal, I vehemently disagree with. I reckon that's outrageous. But if you do break a contract, I do think it wouldn't be fair to the Eels if he came back and played for another club in those 3 years.
Yeah. And also, I want to be clear, if, let's say Lomax was struggling at the Eels, and he was on a big contract, and him and the Eels were speaking to each other, and it's like, it's not working.
Different story.
That's a different story.
Yeah.
But Lomax is a gun. Like that, you know, a lot of people go, oh yeah, we'll be sweet. Okay, who are you signing for that money then for next year? Like, who is as good as Lomax? Because like I wouldn't say a deal of the lifetime, but the Eels nailed that deal. They got a guy that essentially on the open market last year when he was ripping, I reckon he could have got nearly 900K.
Well, you look at Pappenhausen in the Storm, like what he had 1 year left on his contract, was it? But you feel
it's mutual.
Yeah, there's the mutual of, we've got Surfire Longo sitting there who we don't really want to lose him, but we're
Yep.
probably going to if Pap stays. So whilst they obviously didn't want to lose Pap the season early, they've probably gone, you know what, we can free up some cash. We've got this electric fullback coming through. It kind of works both ways in a few different areas, whereas Lomax is just like, no, Eels are just getting dicked over here.
Like, yeah, the Eels, like, granted, like, I respect the Eels of how they've handled it. Like, they've made the smart choice and, like, listen, we can fight and hold this guy, but it's just going to cause absolute chaos at this club. It's going to be in the headlines every week. So I really respect the strength of the decision from the Eels, but I don't think there's any real world where the Eels were like, yeah, sweet, we're happy for you to go, surely.
And what I will say is, you know, we speak so much about the importance of club culture on this podcast, and you see seasons derailed from, you know, players being unhappy to club or playing up off season or whatever, off the field, whatever it might be. There's every chance they've just gone, we're not happy that you're leaving, but you know what? If you don't want to be here, we want to build around a club of players who want to be at this club and want to deliver a title.
I'm thinking like from a normal bloke, like the normal bloke that watches this podcast, like a lot of viewers, like what's the difference between our normal like living wage? Like I feel like the difference between that and the 600K is so much like bigger than from 600K to 1.6.
Massively, yeah,
Like,
100%.
If you're going from like a normal wage to 600K, obviously that's a move that you'd want to make. But like going from like already having like tons of money,
Yeah.
like to even more money, like is there that much of a difference that changes in your life, that changes with your family?
You're bang on, bro. You're bang on. They've done studies on it. So after 100, I think it's 100, it's 50 grand. Basically, after you get past the point where you can pay your bills, happiness does not increase. It's basically diminishing returns. They've literally studied the life out of it. And you're bang on. Like, as I said, he's probably, let's you know, at the end of the day, let's say at the end of his career, he's probably, I'll be generous, he's probably going to have $2 million cash extra in his bank that he wouldn't have had before it. Let's say they don't uphold the 10-year ban or whatever, because he can come back and get a good contract. Like, it's not going to change his life that much. It really isn't. And so that's why I just push back a little bit on the idea of like, oh, it's, because it is life-changing money. I get it. It will change. It will make him free to do whatever he wants, essentially. Like, don't get me wrong, he's not going to be living like a billionaire. But I just, as I said, listen, if he was struggling, or let's say he didn't like the club, he didn't like the coach, and he was going for less money or equal money to somewhere, I'll get on board with that too. It's just the idea of the reality of this situation was he was signed to a 4-year deal at the Eels. Someone came in and said, here's $1.5 million a year. And he just said, okay, sweet, I'm out of here.
Yeah.
That's exactly what happened.
Sucks.
Not like, I don't like it here, I'm getting treated poorly, I'm super underpaid. It was, and so I get it though. I get it. You know, the argument against all this is like, all these fans that might talk negatively about me, if you're Zac Lomax, no one's going to give a shit about me when I retire. No one's going to help pay me family's bills. No one's going to come up if I ever struggle with anything. I guess the flip side, in my opinion, to that is like, bro, you're already on 700 grand. It's not like, we're talking 650 base plus matches from Origin as well. Yeah. And he would have a couple third parties as well. He probably ends up each year with I'd assume about $800,000. We'll go 750K. And granted, yep, short career or whatever, but like, yeah, you can make it work with that much money. Like, you can set yourself up, and if you're smart enough with your cash. And also, Zac Lomax got a huge profile. Huge profile.
Very marketable.
Very marketable, super athlete. Met him a couple of times. Seems like a great young lad. Like, I think Eels have got the short end of the stick here. They've, you know, we often talk about how players are not paid enough. Like, look at this gun. Oh, he's on unders. He should be on more. The one time where a club like fully wins that battle of like identifying a superstar before he goes on and kills at the Dragons, gets him on 650, they get stiffed. It just sucks. It sucks. And like, I'm always pro player, guys. You know that. However, you got to think of empathetic from the Eels' perspective as well. Like, they nailed the signing, got him on unders. He's playing great footy. I know he's playing good at the Dragons, but he kept playing good at the Eels. From a Lomax, like purely just selfishly from a Lomax perspective, like, I'm stoked for him financially. Yeah, like, definitely. Yes, I don't like the fact that he broke a 4-year deal, but you can still be happy that a fellow rugby league player, like obviously substantially better than me, but you know what I'm saying, got a huge payday. Like, you know, good on you, bro. Good on you. I'd never begrudge a man earning a lot of money. It's just the contract thing that kind of like, 19 games into a 4-year deal. Matty, any other thoughts on it, mate?
Oh, I'm just thinking, thank God the whole Bailey Simonson thing worked out in their favour.
Well, clearly that was around. I reckon he found out that Lomax was going, and that's why he did a backflip and staying now.
Well, that checks out.
Yeah, I reckon basically the Eels went to him and said, "Okay, yeah, you were down the pecking order, but Lomax is gone, and we need you. You're going to be most likely."
Changed.
Yeah, things changed because my assumption is that Bailey just wanted to be playing first grade, not be getting jumped over, and so now he's staying. I will say, like, if he stays injury free, like, is he Zac Lomax? No, but he's not like. It's not that much of a downgrade.
He's a bloody good player. He's a very good player.
He's a good player.
And also, like for like, in the sense of like a lot of meters, a lot of tackle breaks, he will do that. He will do that. Does he have the aerial threat that like Lomax has and some of the crazy offloads? No, but he can get you 200 meters a game and have 10 tackle breaks.
I'd love to know and please comment what Eels fans think, because I've only got a sample size of one. One of my good friends is an Eels fan. He wasn't too phased.
Wasn't too phased?
So I'd love to know what the general consensus among Eels fans
I think
are.
it's been mixed, to be honest.
Yeah, I feel like the Eels, like, it could be like a blessing in disguise. Like, yeah, they lose one of their best players, superstars of the game, but you get that money back. You already have good players coming through. They can like fill a spot. Obviously, Bailey's on the wing there still to hold ground. But I think you can invest that in something else. Like I think they need an extra middle forward, maybe a back rower. That they could go on the market and, someone to help straighten up Mitchell Moses.
Or even, because they're not going to get much this year. Like, they might be able to upgrade a few blokes, but the next when, oh my God, I can't believe it. Pezzett leaves and they got a young 6 coming through and they need to upgrade him to keep him. They could probably have that money. So that's a good thing. I think Eels have handled this so well, especially like the impact of this whole thing. Like, they've just handled it really well where because they haven't shown panic and been like, nah, you're not leaving. Because they haven't shown panic, it's kind of made a lot of Eels fans go, okay, so maybe if they're okay, if they're calm and collected, it's the whole like, if you're with your missus, if you're screaming and go, oh my God, I don't know what's going on, she's going to be like, what the fuck's going on? You know what I mean? Or those studies they do where like just groups of people start running and then the one person that's not in the study like looks around, is like, oh shit, I'm starting running too. And I think the Eels, they've handled it so well because they've stayed so calm. They haven't been really fiery in the media going, no, he's an Origin player. We are not letting go. How dare he? They've just been like, oh, we'll speak to Zac. Which I think has eased a lot of the Eels' minds with it all.
I think the other impact there is like just the timing of all that they are in a rebuilding phase, Parramatta.
Yeah.
If they were top 4 and a chance at winning the comp next year and Brown goes, Lomax goes 1 year into the contract, then you go, shit, like that's a piece of the puzzle to win a comp. At the moment they go, all right, we might be planning to win a comp in 2027 or 28, whatever it might be. They've got time to work around this and use that money, as you said.
So I think Eels have handled this. This is exactly, you know what, if I'm being honest, this is exactly how you should handle a disgruntled player. Like, you should give it time to try and convince them to stay. And then once you realise that this is just not going to happen, then you've just got to, unfortunately, it sucks, but it's like the reverse. Like, when a player wants a club gone, you can fight as much as you want as a player, but it gets to a point where you're either going to have to go legal or you just go. And I think that the Eels they've realised that. Like, look at the Dragons situation. I'll never forget it. Sorry to put the boot into the Dragons, but imagine what they could have got for Ben Hunt if after that first month of him wanting to leave, they said, yep, sweet. Imagine who they got. He was the man. They could have got $1 million trade nearly, and they got nothing for him because they hung on to it. I think the Eels handled it well. I'm stoked to see how Lomax goes. In regards to athletic ability in Union, like, I think he'll kill it. Like, if he understands the game and has played enough to get the game, athletic ability in Union, I think he'll go really well. What are your thoughts, mate?
Yeah, I agree, and especially with his ability under the high ball. Like, there's so many pressure contests. There's so many times where 10s will try to earn that 20 meters with that high ball, and he can just nullify it. I think, and then if you give him a long kick, his ability to return or see space, I think he'd be dangerous.
Yeah.
The transition from lead to Union as an outside back is pretty easy. And you see so many players do it and do it successfully. Forwards doing it, the game is completely different. Or you see a lot of athletic back rows sort of in league will go and they might play like an inside centre, like a Sonny Bill Williams at times. And, it's a big change. Even like
the ruck and more for forward is good.
Yeah, it's so completely different.
Yeah.
So,
and there's so many intricacies in the ruck and more that you don't actually see.
So much to it, the technicalities of the game and like, playmakers, if Nathan Cleary were to go over, how would he go? Probably kill it. But, it's quite different. But outside backs, it translates pretty well to each other.
Yeah, so... Okay, guys, Rugby 360, it's a real thing then. Pretty much, confirmed, it's a real thing. It's happening. Huge names connected to it. Obviously, Payne Haas, Ryan Pappenhausen, hasn't that been a strange situation? Again, it really is. I know a lot of people like to think in black and white, but the Pappenhausen compared to the Lomax situation, it just shows you how nuanced the different things can be, like different factors can be. Like both players technically breaking their contract early, but it's the way it's all happened that you sit there and go, this is right, this is wrong kind of thing. But regardless of that, with that all being said, I definitely don't hold it against Lomax. This would be a tough decision. It's a lot of money. A lot of people say they would act a certain way, but until you're in that situation, you can have your opinion on it, of course, but I just wouldn't be too judgmental on it. You can sit there and say, I don't agree with it. You can sit there and say, it doesn't sit right. But if you're getting quite vitriolic about it, it's you just don't know what's going on in his life. You don't know who he's paying for, what his family's got. Maybe it's nothing. Maybe it's nothing. Or maybe it's everything. So I just think that people that are, as I said, I don't agree with it. However, the people that get a bit too vitriolic with it, you just don't know what's happening in someone's life. Occasions.
Sorry, I was going to say, if Rugby 360 does fall through this year and he wants to come back next year, what do you reckon should happen there?
Ooh, great question, because you said that about a Payne or a Pappy. I think a lot of people go, yeah, sweet, come back in. But because Lomax obviously left early, his contract early, and the Pappy one is obviously a mutual one, it does make it seem a bit like, well, we're getting used here to a degree, But it shouldn't really matter that much, to be honest. Leaving is leaving, I'd say. Listen, you know me, Matty, I'm always a big believer in business before feelings, show before feelings. I think you just bring him back in. And it's rugby league before anything else, in my opinion. Thoughts?
I think if Payne Haas was to leave this year for next season, is he still eligible to play for Samoa because it's because it's run by the Rugby League International Federation, not NRL?
I think he is eligible. I think you just find a lot of pressure will be put on them to be like, guys, a lot of funding probably goes to this. So yeah, that's an interesting one. He would be eligible. I'd say technically he probably could.
Yeah, because I'm if it's not run by the NRL, get him in there. We need 200 metres every game. We need you, sir. Big Uso, we need you. So go get your money, but come back and play for Samoa and help us.
That's great stuff. That's great stuff. It's a good question though. How do you get around that international thing? Because I'd assume technically they could play for their...
Is Origin the NRL, or is that New South Wales Rugby League and Queensland Rugby League? Because the Blues will have him as well.
Mate, speaking of Origin, I know it's never too early to speak about Origin. However, you've lost Suoli, you've lost Lomax, you could lose Haas. And look, maybe Queensland will lose some players, I'm not sure. But there's a chance where you lose a couple more.
Campy, we lose as favourites. We'll win as underdogs, so we'll be fine.
We'll be fine.
We'll be right. What could possibly go wrong?
What could possibly go wrong? That's the first thing that's gone wrong. So look, stoked that he's got this big payday for sure. It just, I don't know. Maybe it was mutual. Maybe the Eels were like, you know what? We've thought about it. We've said about it. Yep. Okay, you're good to go. If that is the case, then I'm happy for everyone. I really am. I think it's a win for everyone. If it's not the case, just sucks that it was 19 games into a 4-year deal. That's the KO can't miss moment, though. It's time for cricket's greatest rivalry. The Ashes beginning this Friday on KO Sports. Catch every ball live in 4K with no ad breaks in play, plus expert commentary and analysis from cricket's best commentary team. I won't be a part of it, though, guys, even though it says best commentary team. What happens in Las Vegas this weekend could change a Formula 1 championship. Oscar and Lando both roll the dice to see who will come out on top under the neon glow of Las Vegas Strip. Who wrote this? Jeez, this is poetry.
Yeah, it's nice.
Oh, my God. The neon glow of the Las Vegas Strip. Watch the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Exclusively Australian Eastern Daylight Savings. No, Daylight Time. AEDT. Is S when it's Daylight Savings, it's got an S on it, doesn't it?
No, that's standard time.
Standard time.
AEDT
is Daylight Savings Time.
Daylight Savings Time.
Yeah, okay. Apologies. Not a big time guy. The WBBL season is live. Crucify me, Jesus.
You're a Queenslander. You didn't have daylight savings, so
yeah, it's so weird. Every time it comes up, I'm just like, what? This is so weird. What is so weird about daylight savings is you guys just agree as a state that things just change. The clock we've been working to Just change it.
It's an undeniable good change, though. Like, you guys are wrong for not changing, for sure.
Nah, you know what? We're about sticking by the rule book, mate. None of this bullshit changing shit on the fly. We just get it done, mate.
That is nonsense.
You know what? We don't care about what the sun's up or down, mate. We're training. That's what we're doing to win fucking Origin. Yeah, KO race, 3 p.m. Sunday afternoon. The WBBL season is live now. Watch the best players smash huge sixes, take stunning catches, and send wickets tumbling. Who wrote this? Whoa. Watch every WBBL game live with no ad breaks in play on KO. And the NBA season, big NBA guy, is rolling, and the league's biggest stars are lighting up the court with insane athleticism and unforgettable moments. Watch an average of 9 regular season games per week live on ESPN and KO. Jesus, who wrote that? Okay, in regards to some other league news, guys. Actually, we'll talk about the JDM yesterday, the fights. So, unfortunately, Jack Della Maddalena, he lost to Islam Makhachev in quite a dominant performance. Like, it really was quite a dominant performance. Yeah, it sucks. I think the thing that sucked the most about it was probably just how little answer he had to defend the takedown. Now, granted, I do think people aren't giving JDM enough credit for how well he defended the submission, and I think that has a lot to do with Craig Jones. Because, like, to go 5 rounds like that, where you've the control time, like at the 3 minute mark or 3 minutes 30 seconds, every round, Islam shot. And once he shot, he had control for 3 minutes essentially, and he couldn't submit JDM. So, like, you got to give him credit the fact that he didn't get submitted, but it was just the dominance of it. Like, I had the question on Friday was like, does Islam fatigue at 155 because he's not fit, or does he fatigue because of the weight cut? It clearly was because of the weight cut. Now, granted, I thought there was a moment in round 3 or so that if JDM had found a way to pick up the pace a little bit, he could have maybe tested the gas tank. But after that moment came and went, like, Islam looked fresh as a daisy. So it was clearly the weight cut that hurt his gas tank, not the actual gas tank being not good. Look, Islam Makhachev is going to be, is his resume as good as, like, the greatest of all time yet? No, but I mean, he really is starting to get, like, as in right now it's not, but like, he really is starting to get into GOAT territory. To go 155, like, it's one thing to go from 145 to 155. Is that like, what, about 6 kilos difference or something like that? 5-6 kilos? Could you get up the difference between pound and kilos, please? To go from 155 to 170 and ragdoll the world champion the way Islam did, that is actually insane. Their game plan was incredible. Khabib's game plan and the Dagestani, they had every answer for Craig Jones' takedown defense, like every answer. And Craig Jones is one of the best in the business.
1 kilo is 2.2 pound.
2.2, so about 5. We'll just say 5, so half.
Yeah.
So about half. So 145 to 155, you're looking at about a 4 kilo difference, 4 or 5 kilo difference. 155 to 170, that's nearly 10 kegs, bro. He went 155 champ, went up to 170 and dominated the guy that has bashed essentially, I know it was a late win against Gilbert, but he dominated Bilal. That's how good Islam is. So he's truly getting into GOAT territory. Incredible performance, incredible game plan.
155. Sorry, so 15 pound different would be 6.8 kilos.
6.8 kilos.
Would you say 155 to 170?
Yeah.
Yeah, so 15 pounds.
Oh, it's not 20. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
I was thinking 20. My bad. Not a big mass guy. So still a lot though in the fight game. Still heaps. Like 6 kilos, like huge.
I've been trying to lose 6 kilos for years.
Well, there you go. So in regards to, like JDM going forward, like really, and look, I know some people, Islam won the stand-up as well. Like even his stand-up was better. You got to understand, by putting other strikers in a situation where they know they have to defend the takedown, and they know that the difference between wrestling is like different universes, that's what makes it so hard to strike against Islam, because he doesn't have to ever worry about takedowns. Whereas JDM, every time he fights someone that's a really good wrestler, he's always going to be thinking about that takedown, especially a guy like Islam. Now, I thought the game plan was so smart from Islam as well. Just attack the front leg, which made him be lighter on his front leg, which obviously made it easier to get that single leg or get the takedown. It looked like JDM had damage from the leg kick, so whether he definitely, his calf was definitely injured, there's no doubt about that, but whether he fully blew his ACL out, because the grimacing he was doing was like listen, like usually, the calf can be gone, but he was grimacing in like when he was on the ground. So that would suggest there's a bit like if you're just laying there and you're grimacing, no one's putting pressure on your calf. It looks like there's something else there. So the leg kicks were so smart, especially like if you're a striker. The problem with JDM as well, he's quite an upright striker. And so to kind of like, you've got your Sean Strickland that's really good at like kind of lifting the knee to a degree, but JDM is like blade stanced almost. So if you chop that front leg, you lose a lot of mobility. Whereas if you're almost a wrestle striker, you're a bit lower. You can defend the takedowns a little better. Anyway, long story short, great game plan from Islam. With JDM, I think he'll be back. Look, obviously Islam was always going to be an issue for him. It's just going to have to work on not necessarily the submission defense, which he was incredible with, takedown defense. Like, I just felt the takedowns were just far too easy for Islam to get. And I don't mean easy in the sense of like, oh, anyone could do it, just more because JDM's so good. So I can't wait to see him in his next fight, see what he's improved. He's still only 29 years old. I think we'll see him absolutely back towards the top of the division. I think that he's got plenty more improvement left in him. It's just a matter of working on that takedown defense. Now, the question coming out of this, and it's been a question for a while in the UFC, is wrestling a concern? Now, I'm not one of those guys that watches a fight and there's a lot of wrestling. I'm like, oh, he's shit, he just wrestled the whole time. It's MMA. It's mixed martial arts. That's the beauty of it. You can win by different ways. However, I will say, from a product perspective, they have to find a way, like, although Islam was dominant, like, he just didn't take much risk on the ground. And the same thing happened with Chimaev against DDP. Like, they would get them to the ground, and the reason why, part of the reason, not the only reason, but part of the reason why they were so dominant is they didn't take any risk and create any openings. Because like when you go for a submission, you're creating openings for your opposition. So if you Islam and that, if you get someone down, the least amount of submissions you go for, the less open you are to letting that guy back up. And I just felt with Chimaev especially, but Islam to a lesser degree, as a product, it's just not good. Now, granted, I'm not saying stand them up straight away. I don't want to see a boxing fight. If I want to see that, I'll watch actually boxing. But I do think the UFC do have a concern about, like, if you've got someone in control for 2 minutes and you haven't gone for a submission or any kind of substantial ground and pound, like, that's a concern. Like, they need to find a way. I know they've already got rules where they can say, all right, stand up, boys, but they need something else that, I don't know, pushes the dominant position into a submission attempt. Because I like watching a great wrestler. Like, you know, they stand on their feet, they get to the ground. Submission battles, they're incredibly entertaining to watch. It's just the kind of, like, essentially laying on them to not allow them back up. Going for a submission every now and then with some light ground and pound. It just... Look, I'm not saying that it's not a fair way to win at all, but from a viewing perspective, I just wish Islam was a bit more aggressive with his, and granted, it's his first time at 170, but a bit more aggressive with submission attempt. I want to see, what makes the Volk fight versus Ortega so great? Because Ortega was going for submissions, and Volk somehow survived him. So I do think they've got a concern there. Shevchenko won, essentially the GOAT women's MMA UFC person for sure. I actually thought she beat Nunes when she fought her quite a while ago. I thought she beat her. I was shocked when she didn't. I think she's essentially locked herself as in the GOAT. I don't think you can really... Like, obviously, you've got Nunes, is she a double weight champion? You've got Nunes you consider, but she's had some pretty bad losses where she's turned up. So Shevchenko essentially the GOAT, but it's obviously a conversation. And just quickly, Conor Benn defeats Eubank Jr. I mean, they got to get this weight... rehydration clause out. I just don't think it was. And also, Eubank, he's getting a bit older, but Ben looked outstanding. A lot of people say he couldn't box. He boxed really well. So, look, I do want to see the trilogy if there is no rehydration clause. However, if Ben wants to go back down to 147, I think it is, and just go for belts, then I can also understand that. But yeah, that's the UFC chat. That's the UFC chat, guys. Out of the way. But let's get back to some rugby league chat, guys. Transfer whispers. Sorry, NRL considering changing the door. And this makes me grumpy. This turns my frown upside down. Code Sports are reporting the NRL is considering cutting the number of premiership rounds from 27 to 19 as part of the Code Code march towards 20-team league by 2032 Brisbane Olympics. Under the plan, Origin could become a standalone series. Repeated calls for the NRL Premiership to suspend during the Code's $100 million showpiece. The international calendar will be expanded, with the NRL keen to capitalise a test match boom after success of recently completed Ashes and Pacific Championships. Buys will be scrapped and the regular season shortened to enable more scheduling flexibility under 20-team league. And the NRL is mulling over a conference system successfully used in American sports to maximise rivalry matches, gates, revenue for clubs. Mate, what do you think about that?
I like it. I'd never seen that before, so I was like, bro, that's so much better. I feel like in the middle of the season, there's such a lull. Like, obviously not because the footy's not good, but then you have Origin plays out, and then the season's so long. I feel like it keeps everyone engaged for that 20 weeks. I think Origin by itself. Like I think the 3-week wait or 2-week wait between Origin games, like I think it's good because it builds the suspense. But like I'm jittery, like I'm so horny to watch it. Like, bro, like I just want to see Payne Haas rip in, and then we lose. But then, like I feel like it's good. I would enjoy it. I think it's better for players. Like they seem like a lot of players seem tired at the back end of the year, especially pack champs. I feel like for the Ashes, like the Aussie boys just went there. Like no disrespect, but they just went there for a free holiday, win some footy games. They want to come home holiday. So I feel like it's good for player welfare. I feel like it's good for rugby league in general.
And in regards to getting more test match, like I'm sure you've spoken about it with your friend group quite a lot. Like, what would you like to see? Would you like to see, on the week that's let's say it's State of Origins in the mid of the year, would you like to see a 3-game Samoa Tonga, or do you think no, you want to see the boys in the New South Wales and Queensland side? You know what I mean? Like, what would you like to see?
I would definitely want them playing Origin. I still feel like Origin is the pinnacle of the game. That's where the best rugby league is played. And while they play Origin, they come back play for Samoa and they're better. Like I don't think they should be playing Tonga Samoa every year. I feel like for us, it's such like you get emotional. It's such a big event. Like once every 2 years, like it lights the fire. I don't think we can afford to parade every year. We don't have the money. We don't have the gas for that.
Yeah, okay. But, you don't, as in fans don't have the money for it. Okay. That's fair. So you'd like to see every second year Samoa Tonga?
Yeah, like at Ashes. Like it's a sacred. I feel like it's a sacred thing for us.
Yeah, okay.
I would like to see it like maybe once every 2 years. I don't agree with like bringing back like the Anzac test. Oh, not the Anzac test, sorry, but bringing that Pacific test in the middle of the year every year.
Okay. I
feel like let them play Origin. That's the pinnacle of the game. They want to play Origin. They want to represent, New South Wales.
Yeah.
And then at the end of the year, like I think Samoans, Tongans, they'll always turn up for the games.
Yeah. Okay.
I think leave that and like let the suspense build.
Yeah. Okay. So as in still do the pack champs, but Samoa and Tonga are always rotating to a degree, because there's going to be at least some years if the pack champs goes on where it's 2 years in a row, I'd say, where Samoa and Tonga play each other.
Yeah.
Just because
one team would tour, right?
Yeah. One team would tour.
Yeah. Like you don't have to play, like if obviously you play them if they're
in it.
Yeah, but I don't think going to a like specific test.
Could you? What about the thought of if you did that, then you're not going to have like a standalone game where you can give a trophy. You know what I mean? Like if you had a one every year, or we'll just say every second year, Samoa versus Tonga, you could build up a trophy that they win that means something to the people. You know what I mean? Whereas even the pack champs, it's still got New Zealand and Australia in it.
Yeah. That is a good idea, I think. Like now listening to you say that. But like to be honest, I feel like it can hold its own.
Yeah,
like, I feel like it's such a rivalry. It can just hold its own. Like it's not just rugby league. It's like, two countries that have history.
Yep.
So if they were to do it, I wouldn't be mad. But like in my opinion, I don't like.
Not every single year, every second year.
Yeah. Or if you're like drawn in the pack champs, you just play that game.
You play the game. Okay, fair. Now, did you indulge in the banter with Tonga? Because it was some of the greatest banter I've ever seen versus Samoa Tonga. Obviously, granted, some went a bit too far, obviously. If you know, you know. But did you enjoy the banter?
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah.
I loved it. We went up to Suncorp to watch the game. It was probably one of the best days of my life.
Yeah, wow.
Seeing Tongans leave at the 60-minute mark, head down. Yeah, they would always say, we started parading, like we were the number ones. We never leave games early. You left at 60 minutes. I saw you wasking out. Yeah, I know you just wanted to miss the traffic, but come on, we got 20 minutes left.
Now, in regards to the Samoa-Tonga rivalry, like for an Aussie that might not be aware of like how deep that runs, how deep does it run?
I feel like, well, like if you're going back in history, like Tonga used to kind of rule over Samoa, and then I don't know like the mad history behind it. But then I think it just stems from there, and I think also it's probably just like it's like Australia and New Zealand. Like at the end of the day, we still all love each other.
Yep.
But like the rivalry, like Pacific Islanders love the banter. They love to mock people, love to get in. Obviously, sometimes too much. Yeah. But I feel like it is, but it isn't. Like it's still like kind of Australia, New Zealand.
Kind of like Origin to a degree. Like we put shit on each other, but we're all Aussies and we love each other at the end of the day. We'll not love each other, but you know what I mean.
I feel like, I'm not I'm a plastic Samoan, so I'm not like the best.
Oh, don't say that, mate. You're Samoan, mate. You're Samoan.
But I feel like it is deep, but it's not at the end of the day.
Yeah,
After the game is finished, I feel like you do your banter, you throw it out there, and then everyone loves each other again.
Mate, some of the banter I like, bro. I was losing my shit. Like there was one where the dude, the Samoan dude called his Tongan mate and he's like, "Hey, bro, what's the time?" He's like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "Can you just tell me what the time was?" And it was the score that you pumped Tonga by. Yeah. Fucking lost my shit. And then did you see the Ashley Klein AI'd as the Kiwi doing the haka?
Oh my God.
Bro, far out. So good.
Whoever made that, I think you need a pay rise.
Oh, 100%.
Sorry.
100%. Timmy, thoughts on the NRL draw, changing it, all that stuff?
Yeah, I like all the proposed changes. Obviously, there's a lot more to it than just what's been outlined. Give or take maybe the conference setup. I haven't thought about that enough. That is a big change to do the conference setup. I understand the getting more rivalry games and the fixtures that'll put bums on seats.
Yep.
But yeah, I think the break in the middle of the season for standalone Origin has to happen. I just think it'd be such a good opportunity to play it 3 weeks in a row. It's a 2-week period sort of thing, 3 weekends in a row, I should say, or 3 Wednesdays, however they want to do it. They'd probably do it on a weekend in that case, obviously. I just think the quality of rugby league through that period with all the key players out is pretty ordinary at times, and I think the season is too long. And you mentioned player welfare there. I think that's key. Like, by the time, particularly the rep players have played Origin and then they play the internationals at the end of the season and teams that go deep into the finals, like, you need to look out for the players at some point. And I know it's all about revenue and playing as much as you can and getting as many games on TV as you can, but you just see the amount of injuries in the game with how quick it is these days and how physical it is on the bodies. I just think the season is a little bit too long. So I think if they can cut it down, have these standalone rep weekends, I think it'd be fantastic. I actually disagree a little bit. I'd be leaning into the Samoa Tonga. I think it's such a special thing that we've got, and I don't think by playing it more regularly it'd diminish the quality of it or the rivalry or any of this. Like, I don't mind the idea of just going all in on it, and you have this rep period where you have a 3-match Tonga versus Samoa series at the same time as Origin. I think it would be unbelievable to do that. The downside being, of course, that you're taking these players away from the Origin arena. So whether they were just to save it for the end of the season so they could play Origin, I'm fine with that. But at the end of the day, I'm looking at it from like a TV rights deal, and they're going to want games on the screen in the middle of winter when Origin's on. And if you can add the 3-match Samoa Tonga series on top of it, I think it'd be elite.
Yeah. See, I'm somewhere in the middle. I think once a year, one game. I think initially. And then once because like then if you had 3 games, what happens to Pacific Champs, which we do love, because then New Zealand is kind of like the odd one out. And then, okay, if you go, okay, we don't want New Zealand odd one out because we've got to have Oz playing NZ, then England get odd one out. You know what I mean? We just got this weird, odd situation at the moment.
I think the 3-match one would have to coincide with these changes with a shorter season and a rep window, because then they could do it and then it doesn't impact the Pacific Champs, the World Cup.
The only thing is, does it hit Origin too much in the sense that, like, I kind of want to see these boys. I want Origin to be the best of the best.
That's the downside. Well, I'm not saying that's definitely the answer, but I would be trying to lean into Samoa Tonga more.
I just think that somehow, some way, whether it's in the Pac Champs when they play each other, there's got to be some kind of build-up hectic trophy or whatever they win that means something to their people.
Well, you could do things like in the rugby championships with the Wallabies, and they play like South Africa, Argentina, New Zealand. They have the Bledisloe. Now, look, that's becoming less relevant because we haven't won it in about 25 years. But, you know, when rugby was at its peak, you're still playing with other nations in a bigger tournament, but you played for the Bledisloe internally. So maybe it is that Pac Champs or whatever it is, and internally you have Samoa and Tonga, as you said, playing for a trophy because it'd still be huge.
I think the more you talk about it, the more I get on board. I think actually I always thought about, like, we have to save it, build it up. But if they play like once a year, like in a Pac Champs, like the Bledisloe, but they have like a Samoa versus Tonga Bowl that Tonga will never win. It'll be good, and then you got the storyline like Tonga haven't won it for 15 years. Like, is it their year? Like, I think it's I'm actually coming around to it.
Yeah, and like what I will say is I know where you're coming from in the sense of like you you don't want to ruin the build up to something. Like I think sometimes, especially now, in just anything in life, everything comes so easy to us that you don't get to savor the build up and the 2-year wait. Especially for this year, we saw what the explosion was. It was this explosion of passion and banter and just great footy to watch. And so I understand the feeling of like, are we going to get that if it's every single year? Because they'll go, oh, you know what, I can't make this year, so I'm going to go next year. Like, are we going to get Logan like just chockers with Samoans? You know what I'm saying? Like, maybe.
I think you would, but like State of Origin's on every year, and the hype around it gets bigger every single year.
Yeah,
I don't think it would diminish it at all.
Samoans will always try to find a way to parade too. So if they have a reason, they'll go.
Yeah, have a reason. The only thing I'd say about the Origin one is that you've got 2 states that what is it? Is it New South Wales 8 million people or some shit like that? And then Queensland's like 5 million people, something like that. We got less and we still beat in Origin. But anyway, that gives enough people to like rotate in and out of being hyped about Origin. If you know what I'm saying, like let's say you need 4 million people watching it, and you've got a pool of 10 million. How much is it, Matty?
So it's New South Wales 8.5, Queensland's 5.6.
Oh, big numbers guy. Big numbers guy. So that's like what it's 12. It's about 13 million people that could potentially watch Origin. Whereas with Samoa Tonga, the population is still really, really small, relatively speaking. So like basically you're asking. Can you look up what we'll just say Polynesian population is in New South Wales, Queensland. But I'll say 500,000. You're asking 500,000 people every year to be locked in and spending their money and going on that.
I think.
I'd still get around it. Like, if there was a 3-test Samoa Tonga, I'd go to games and I'd watch every game. Like, it doesn't have to only be the Polynesian community.
They're the heartbeat of it, though.
They are, but yeah.
If we have like a 1-game like series every year, I feel like it would be. Maybe if we play them like one in Auckland, the next year's Brisbane, then the next year's Sydney. So I think the suspense still, like that city waits for its turn.
Yeah.
And then,
okay.
And then now they have to wait another 2-3 years. And then they get to play again.
Yep.
Like, I think that could be.
And you just go to like Perth or something or whatever. What do you got there, Matty?
In the 2021 census, there was about 337,000 people of Pacific heritage.
So
in Australia.
And that what makes it even more incredible, the turnout. Like when you actually think about of the percentage of people that are Polynesian descent, but the turnouts were as big as they were. That's crazy, bro. Like if you took that percentage, so we'll just say 50% of Samoa and Tonga's people turned out. If you took 50% of 8 million people, that's fucking 4 million Aussies that were Aussies, like obviously multicultural, but you know what I'm saying? Aussies that turned out, Anyway, it's the good thing is that the Polynesian community has created this question with their, passion, with their passion.
I also feel if we play them at the same time as Origin as well, you won't get the quality footy that we got this year. So I feel that will hurt the product maybe if we don't have maybe Jerome or Payne Haas or Bizza playing, which might make a bit.
Yeah, that's a good. As in, like if you played during Orange, did you say? Sorry,
if we played that 3-match series.
Yeah, I see. I'm not with Tim on that one. Like I just think for both sides, as long as you qualify and you've been in this country before 13, then you qualify for Origin. I just don't know how much that would affect Origin long term, especially if you look at the trend over the last 20 years, like with the growth of how many Polynesians are now playing NRL, like in another 10 or so years, if you start saying to them, you've got to make a choice between Samoa and Tonga, and ironically, I used to actually totally agree with you. I was like, you know what, this will actually sort their eligibility problem out because it'll make you just play for what you love more, really. Like that's it. I know it's a crass way of saying it, but it really is the case.
I think in like 5 years' time, like if they were to be doing this, maybe early on the players would still play Origin, and then they'd obviously play for Samoa, Tonga, whatever at the end of the year. But if they had to choose between the two, I don't know. I just think.
Well, let's look. What's the? Can you get the New South Wales squad up from this year and the Queensland squad up from this year, and essentially let's just imagine that every person with Polynesian heritage selected to play for Samoa and Tonga, and let's see what the teams look like.
And that's what I was going to say. Like, I think. Yeah, maybe not immediately, but I think in a few years' time, you'd find most of them would play for Samoa and Tonga because this 3-game series that you build up every year would be so big. I think they'd probably play for Samoa and Tonga.
What do you reckon,
Could
bro?
be wrong.
It's a hard one, because like obviously I grew up in Mount Druitt, proud, like Brazil, love it, from their area, you know what I mean? All day, 2770, baby, let's go. Holy shit.
Bro, you could be speaking another language right now. We are the biggest nerds ever.
But like, so if you were to ask me, where are you from? I'll say I'm from Mount Druitt. Like that's where I grew up, that's where I love. But if you tell me like oh, what are you? I'd say I'm Samoan. So like, I feel like I care about both equally. I'm from Mandurah. I grew up there. I didn't grow up in Samoa.
Yeah.
But I'm Samoan. Like we went to a Samoan church. My mum spoke Samoan at home. I didn't understand her.
Yeah.
But we ate Samoan food. Like,
yeah, it's such an interesting. It's such a like.
I feel like it's so hard. Like for me, like seeing them play both. It's not a decision of one or the other. It's like, yeah, I'm from the area, but I'm a Samoan.
Yeah, and people say, like, critics are a bit like, oh, you know, you need to pick one. You know, do you lean into the Polynesian or the, you know, the origin? It's like, you absolutely are both, and you should be able to play both. Like, no arguments there. And just to be clear, around like the potential 3-game series in the rep window, I'm thinking from sort of a business perspective of if this is going to happen, have Steely and rep round, broadcasters will want as many games as possible to make this happen. Because if it's just 3 games of Origin, like, you know, maybe they throw Women's Origin on with it, but the broadcasters and the TV rights, so they'll be going, no, we need more games to, you know, supplement the lack of NRL on.
Yeah.
It's such a complicated, because like you've got Aussies that sit there and go, no, this is what I think for an Australian, you know, league or whatever. Then you got guys like yourself that I've never lived your experience. Like I don't know what that feels like, you know. So how can I sit here and be like, oh, come on, bro, you got to choose one or the other? Because it's like, well, I don't really understand what's like to grow up in a country, but your culture. It's obviously mixed, like it's some Australia, but like it's Samoan culture, you know. It's tough. Yeah. It's such a tough conversation. I don't know what the right answer is.
I think even when like you hear people in the media like, oh, if you play Origin, you should play for Australia. Like I don't mind that at all as well, like because it's obviously sacred. Like it's like New South Wales, Queensland. Like I understand. I would just like say, this is our opinion, or this is my opinion.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. No, absolutely get that, bro.
I think if you reduce the comp to 20 weeks or 20 or 19 weeks, whatever it is, that's 8 weeks that are missing, right? So you can still have the 3-week Origin period, and then pick another weekend earlier in the year in April, for example, to have another weekend off where you have Australia versus New Zealand and then Tonga versus Samoa. Then everyone wins. Like, there's no reason that they can't have 2 rep weekends.
I like it. Yeah. I don't think broadcasters would go for it, just because they'll
be desperate for a lot of games.
There's not enough games on.
I think, Tim, because you lose the 8 games, you want to make that money back.
But like in my example, you're just adding 2 games. It's just a week off. You're extending, like there's calendar-wise, it extends by a week. You're still getting the same amount of games plus these 2 games. I
see what you're saying, but I reckon like they've said here, oh, we're reducing it to 19 games, but they'll find another way to have. Like I think if you actually, let's say they reduce it next year to 19. Next year to 19 games. I think you'll find they'll still be playing the same amount of games. It'll just be either for their country or their club.
Well, if you do the maths, so just say there's 20 teams and they play 19 rounds. That's 190 NRL games in the year. Currently, they play 192, so it's no difference. It's actually just 2 games different. They just do need to get to 20 teams.
Yep.
So, anyway, back to what you said before.
Oh, because there'll be no buys. You're right, actually.
There's no buys.
Yeah, so, you're right. Yep.
But, like, seriously, the Anzac weekend, I know I've said it 100 times, but the Anzac weekend used to be the best game, Australia versus New Zealand. I can't believe they got rid of it. They used
to do Samoa Tonga on that weekend too sometimes?
I remember they'd have a few games like Penrith. We went to
So they did it. I tell you when I think they did it. They did it when the Origin used to be played on a Sunday night. And they had that rep weekend, and then they'd play those games out of Campbelltown.
If you did that, though, would you be taking away from when they do versus each other in Pac Champs? You're basically getting 2 opportunities to see Samoa or Tonga throughout the year.
Yeah, but I just have them both. I think the one-off Origin-like game between Samoa versus Tonga in April every year is separate to Pac Champs.
Yeah, it's such a strange conversation. It's because you don't know what the right answer is. Yeah. Now, let's read out the Queensland New South Wales side, just in regards to 3 games during a year, just to see who would be in.
So based off game 3.
And we're assuming that just because they're Polynesian that they would choose. That doesn't mean that we're saying they will. We're just assuming that.
So Blues, fullback Dylan Edwards, he would stay.
He's Samoan. Yeah, he's Samoan.
So Brian To'o, he's gone. Stephen Crichton, gone. Latrell would stay. Lomax would stay. Jerome Luai, gone. Cleary, stay. Max King, stay, although he's actually eligible for England. Reece Robson, stay. Payne Haas, gone. Liam Martin, gone. Liam Martin, stay. Liam Martin, stay.
Liam Martin?
Angus Crichton, stay. Isaiah, stay. Connor Watson, stay. Spencer Leniu, gone. Hudson Young, stay. Stefano, gone.
So you're looking at about
just
6
under
players?
half the team.
So half the team.
Just under half.
Half the team. So you're looking at we'll just say 40%.
That's a huge chunk of the Blues.
Yeah.
Like that's an integral part of that team.
And I think there's probably injuries there too. Anyway, now Queensland. So let's just say
fullback, Hamiso. Crazy that Reece Walsh wasn't a fullback, like looking back, but it was the right decision.
Overrated.
So Hamiso, he's Samoa, so gone.
He's already selected to play for Samoa.
Coates, I mean...
PNG?
PNG?
Yeah, you could say. I mean... yeah, I guess it just depends how much of that heritage has been in their house, I guess. But let's just assume he would play for PNG.
But, like,
he's played for Australia.
We're talking Samoa Tonga. We're like, coach will be playing Origin. Because we're not talking about adding a PNG.
Yeah, true.
Good point.
Islands.
All right,
Good
we'll
point.
keep codes. Robert Toya, Tonga, right?
Tonga,
yeah.
Yep.
Shibasaki, Australia. Val, he's Cook Islands, but that's irrelevant as well. Munster stay, Dearden stay. Josh Papali'i, he's gone.
Somewhat.
Harry Grant stay. Tino, who knows this time next year.
But like as in, we're just assuming he'd go.
Please, boy. Please.
we're assuming he'd go.
We're assuming he'd go. We're assuming any Samoa and Tonga player in
Okay.
this would go.
Cotter stay, Catewell stay, Lioro stay, Mann stay, Collins stay, Carrigan stay, Jeremiah Nene gone. So a tiny bit less.
So about 4 players in Queensland side.
But the thing about it, like in that Origin game, we'd be missing, I'll just read them all out. To'o, Crichton, Luai, Haas, Spencer, Stefano, Nanai, Tino, Papali'i, Toya.
Bro, that's a
Hammer.
lot.
That's
a lot.
that's heaps.
About
So
10 players or something.
yeah, I don't like
And
the idea of
I
playing
think
at
they're
the
higher
same
end
time.
players too, like what?
Yeah.
Frida, Bizza,
Yeah, 100.
Jerome.
Yeah. I think also it's trending up too.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like it's not like
It's not going to go down.
it's not
Yeah.
going down. It's not a decreasing number of Polynesian players playing. It's like going up.
Yeah, so I just think if you're playing at the same time, you're kind of cannibalising. Like keep them both as strong as possible.
You know what? I reckon I agree with Matty. That's where I land. That's where I think the most logical answer probably lands. We're at the end of the day, after all that chat, mate. Obviously, you don't have to lock yourself into this, but where would you land?
Sorry? Like
What, as in how many times Samoa Tonga will play? Would it be yearly, bi-yearly, or whatever?
I think I'll just agree. I reckon you have convinced me. I reckon Matty's is the way to go.
Okay, Timmy, you still going 3 games during the year, in the middle of the year, as in considering all the TV rights deals and everything like that?
Yeah, I'm torn. Like I said, like when you read out all the players, like I don't want to detract from the quality of Origin and have that many people missing. I was just in my head, I'm so excited about the prospect of just this huge Samoa Tongan 3-game series.
Yeah, I'm with you.
To G up, I want to lean into that. So look, maybe if it goes to a 20-round competition and it does finish a bit earlier, maybe you can have that. Maybe you can have that every second year kind of thing, and then in the other year it just falls into the Pacific Nations, whatever it might be. So being shorter, maybe add it at the end. I don't know, but I want more.
Just to give your opinion on it a bit more, back it a bit more. Like, can you imagine Game 3 where Samoa has won Game 1, Tonga has won Game 2, and Game 3 is rolling into Suncorp Stadium?
It'd be incredible.
Like, it would be psycho, bro. So, like, I think when you talk about it, you stop thinking about the actual feeling of that. It's a locked up decider. There's banter back and forth in the media. Because the thing that's so special about Samoa and Tonga, not to tell you what's so special about it, bro, you know much more than me, but like, they have real history to draw from. And although right now, yes, it is all very much we are brothers, we've got a lot of similar positives and things we've all got to deal with or whatever. When the shit hits the fan, sometimes old pains rise up. And like you look at Origin, like Queensland, New South Wales, like we couldn't be more similar really as people. But whenever Origin comes around, all of a sudden I start thinking these fucking cunts think they're better than us, chip on the shoulder. They always look down on us. They think they got more money, they got more resources. They treat us like second-class citizens. You know what I'm saying? Why? It's like because that pressure begins to mount. So anyway, I look like a bloody. Look at me speaking so passionately about my.
I love it.
A sweet spot for the time being could be that Pledges Low Cup type thing,
thing.
where the Pacific Nations are on at the end of the year, but they play for the trophy, but they build it up as like this is as big as the Pacific Nations itself.
Yeah, I like that. All right, okay, let's go.
There you go. Boom. We've solved it. Solved all the problems. Never has to be spoken about again. Eligibility solved. The Pacific Game solved.
PVL, you're welcome. Saved a heap of time.
Now back to the NRL, because it was actually about the NRL draw. Mate, I just think that this is the season is way too long. Look, even if I took my own opinion out of it, like how I feel in the season, we've actually ran the numbers on this, and I don't know why I just said ran the numbers like I'm some fucking scientist. But we did look at the numbers, and if you go and look from round like 13, from round 13 to 20, the top 8 is like totally different. But from round like 20 to 27, I think there's only one change in the top 8. So basically, we're spending 7 games with essentially the best teams are locked in. Whereas imagine the season if the last 7 games, the top 8 has changed by 4 teams. Now, I'm not saying change is good, just, changing in top 8. What I'm saying is the real meat of the season and the real drama and everything, it happens around the round 15 mark. And so I just think it's too long. Then you take my opinion out of the way you get tired of watching so much footy at a low quality, especially back into the year. You just look at our numbers. Like our numbers, so they go like this all the way to Origin, and then straight after Origin, there's a drop for 4 or 5 weeks, and then as we head back into finals footy, they pick back up. And so even the wider audience, they're getting tired by the end of the year. So I agree with we got to reduce it. I understand they're trying to build towards that, but that's just one part of the argument. That's not even talking about these boys' bodies, man. Like the thing is, they're playing more games, to my understanding at least, but they're training way more than back in the day. Like back in the day, even in my day, I mean, it was professional then, of course, but like they're even bigger and stronger than when I was coming through. Now, granted, it's because the science and the recovery has gotten better rather than anyone really changing that much. But it's not like the early 90s where, training was rock in, you train from 8 till 12, you go home, you chill out. Like these boys are in working on their body essentially from about 7 in the morning till 5. And this is not poor players segment. It's just more the body can only handle so much. You can only have so many players truly redlining their body's potential in regards to what it can handle in muscle mass, in power, in strength, and also deal with the contact every single week. And what's crazy, it's not even the contact during the game. It's the fucking 3 contact sessions they had during the week that's crazy. Like the game is supposed to be the easy part. And so I think that they're probably going to have to introduce some kind of restrictions around training in regards to how much they do contact. That's going to happen. But also I do think that the season's just going to reduce. For many, there's not... if outside of making money with the networks, I can't find a single reason why their season should be 27 rounds. Thoughts, mate?
I think you
nailed it.
nailed it.
Nailed it. Thanks, bro. Appreciate it.
Maybe on the conference front, I think I agree with Timmy. Like in America, they have, if it's the NFL, they have the NFC North, West, South. Like is it just Queensland teams? Like does Perth, like who gets, if you're in the conference of Perth and you got to travel there, like how does that work? Like does it make it a bit more difficult?
Yeah.
Can we do it by
New Zealand as well?
Oh yeah, New Zealand as well.
Yeah. Yeah, it'd be interesting. I mean, I guess, you'd probably have Titans, Cowboys, Broncos, PNG, all as one. I'm trying to think, maybe you squeeze New into that. Then what for the New South Wales conference? You'd have...
I think you'd probably nearly, again,
you'd have to have 3, wouldn't you? 3 conferences.
Well,
4.
I think you'd probably have 2. I don't think there's enough teams to have more than that. Like, again, I haven't thought it through, but, you'd have the basically New South Wales conference, all the New South Wales teams. You have Queensland with all the Queensland teams. You'd probably add maybe Melbourne to the Queensland conference. You add maybe Perth to the Queensland conference.
That's shit for Melbourne.
Yeah. I'm just trying
I know.
I don't really understand why we'd have conferences, because if the competition's 19 rounds and you play every team once, then why do we need conferences? That part I'm confused by.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think it's relevant. I don't think we should bother with conferences. And like if you go to Perth one year, then the next year you play Perth at home. They should just do it like that.
Yep. Alrighty, that was brought to you by Grumpy Coffee. Go to grumpycoffee.com.au from the 24th to the 2nd of December. Huge, biggest ever Grumpy Coffee selling. 25% off 1 kilo every day and very grumpy whole beans. But also, we have a 25% off capsule bundle deal. The bundle deal is a pack of 3 boxes of pods. Do not miss it. The best coffee in all the land. Let's get into a bit of Code Sports story of the week. And we've also, talk about, we're in a bit of a rebuild here. We got a new man here. Bardo, how you going, brother?
Pretty well.
Yeah.
Felt a little bit left out when the introductions were happening. We've got a new guest. I thought it was going to be me, but that's all right.
They say the best to last.
Yeah. Out with Mobsy, in with Barton. I think it's a good trade.
Mate, you know what? Mobsy, Bardo, so Australian, so Aussie. So Aussie to have 2 nicknames. Okay, mate, walk us through. So you do love your rugby league. Unfortunately, you're a Manly fan, which, condolences about that.
It's been good for me. I mean, I'm 40 years old. Manly's been very good for a long time for me, but condolences at the moment seems quite appropriate because I feel like we're at a low ebb right now.
Oh yeah,
things aren't looking as promising as they have. But
so I think that's tough for Manly fans is like you've accepted, people backstabbing each other constantly and just a club that just hates to get along. But usually you had success, so you'd be like, yeah, he gives shit. But now you've got to deal with the shit and also losing, Yeah,
I don't love it. I was quite a big fan of the success, to be quite honest.
Me too.
When the success was there and the backfighting happened, it's almost a badge of honour. But without the success, you kind of just feel like the West Tigers. Sorry, mate.
Ooh.
No worries, I'm a new fan, bro. I need to get used to it after I'm on a premiership.
Hopefully, I mean, there's already been a little bit of change, potentially more change on the way.
Let's see. And when you say potentially, is that something that you yearn for, the change, or not?
Do I yearn for the children? Yearn for the mines, and I yearn for more change.
You yearn for change.
Yeah, I think there's a couple of moves that Manly could make in leadership positions.
Yep. So, yay or nay? And I'm using words from like the 1800s today, which is weird. But yay or nay? Mestrov in or out?
Well, he's already out.
But did you back that idea of him?
I thought it was the right thing.
Yep.
I do like Jason King coming in. I'm not going to pretend to know what his exact business acumen is, but he's a Manly premiership winner. He's a great dude.
Last name's King too, which always helps.
How can you go wrong with a King?
Yeah.
And obviously a very smart dude, knows footy.
I will say the announcement picture on Instagram looked like he's a book cover. Just saying.
I thought it looked a little bit like an obituary, which
I'm with you. I'll go there.
Momentarily concerned me because I thought
King's dead.
I thought this guy was going to be our next
King
CEO,
is dead.
And now he's gone. No, I think it's a really good appointment. And it's hopefully it's the start of an upswing, because I think Manly's kind of been plummeting a little bit for the past kind of 3 or 4 years under the current leadership.
Is he the man to take them into the new direction or not?
I think he's on his last chance.
Okay.
If he's not the man, we should know by round 10 next year. Like personally, I've thought that he probably had his chances. He's had 3 seasons at Manly. He's made the finals twice, but in both seasons he scraped in. Last year was very unimpressive. The whole saga with Daly Cherry-Evans didn't impress me at all. I mean, I know there's a lot of people to blame on both sides for that, but the way it was handled, just a mess.
Well, the thing with the DCE, like, I could forgive Siebes because he's caught between like administration and the playing group. The problem I have is like it seems to happen everywhere he goes. There's dramas with key senior players.
You're saying it, mate. That's it didn't work. It didn't work at the way. He walked out of South on bad terms.
To my understanding, South senior players weren't happy with the way that was handled. To my understanding,
he effectively delivered Brisbane's only ever wooden spoon, and that didn't work out particularly well. And in my opinion, it hasn't really worked at Manly either. But obviously, he's got some support at various levels.
Yep.
I don't love the recruitment that Manly's done over the past 3 years. I feel like generally the squad's thinned out.
Yep. Do you hate front rowers, do you think? Do you reckon there's a big thing that says don't recruit a front rower?
Oh, I can tell you, it seems like we love wingers. We sign a lot of wingers. Front rowers, Taniela Paseka, he can do it on his own, right?
Yeah, of course. Bloody good player, Paseka, but he needs someone and he's got like some older guys that can kind of carry the load off the bench, but like genuine, I know they got Miley coming, but like still, they've got like 3 genuine front rowers in there for like 3 or 4. I think you need more than that. But mate, you're a cricket man, through and through.
Cricket man.
Like myself. Hazlewood. Was it smoke and mirrors? What's going on here? He's okay. Steve Smith, he's on camera. He's sitting there going, mate, it's all good. I tell you, he played it well.
Yeah.
He played a straight bat, if you know what I mean.
It's going to be a long summer.
Now all of a sudden he's out. First of all, how big is this for Australia with Paddy Cummins also not here? But second of all, very strange-ish that how this has all been handled, in my opinion.
I don't think you can undersell how big it is. Paddy Cummins, Josh Hazlewood, almost 300 test wickets at about 24. His record is exceptional. Him and Cummins being out for the first test is quite honestly like it's a disaster. It's a nightmare for the Australian team. But the smoke and mirrors, the Australian cricket team and Cricket Australia in general tend to underplay smoke and mirrors is probably the right way. If you've got a niggle, if they say that you've got a niggle, you're probably gone for 6 weeks. If you've got a serious injury, you might as well retire. They said Hazlewood was sweet. Obviously, he's not for the first test. You can't mess with hammies.
That's what's so strange to me is like I don't know much about cricket, but I know a little bit about hammies because I've got 2 of them, and like. To say definitively, good to go, because I'm pretty sure they said definitively, like, yep, good to go. He's sweet. Like with a hamstring, if you're even if you're 99% sure he's good to go, you say, we'll see how it goes.
And also, anyone who's ever twinged, torn, done anything to a hamstring, straight away.
Yeah.
Like Josh Hazlewood, the second that tweaks, unless it was just genuine tightness. He was like, oh, maybe he's just a bit tight, but it's turned out the scan showed there was a minor strain or something. But you know straight away with him. Like when he did that last week, what was it, 9 or 10 days, whatever, out from the first test, he knew.
Yeah, and especially with Hazlewood, I mean, he's missed tests in 4 of the past 5 summers, so the second anything comes up, surely you're on red alert for the worst, right?
With Hazlewood, is he one of the? I know he already was the best bowler in the world 3 years ago, I think. But is he one of the great what if stories with all the injuries he's had recently? As in, not what if as in he didn't make first grade, but like, let's say he was injury free for the last 3 or 4 years.
He had a pretty good run for like a long spell there. It's only been the last couple of years.
Okay, so he's had his career. Yeah, okay, fair.
And it specifically seems to happen in the Australian summer as well. Like, I think there could almost be a question that selectors will start to think about whether he should be playing all 3 formats, because he's obviously played in the one-day series against India. And then pretty much immediately after that, in his first red ball efforts straight away, he's done the injury. And I think he's talked about that before, where going from bowling 10 overs of white ball cricket to, potentially 20 overs in a day of red ball cricket is where his body starts to feel these issues. And he could, if he gets through that first test or that first Shield game, etc., he feels like he builds into the summer really well. But if that's the case and you look at him and you go, what's the most important thing to Australian cricket? Is it one day is against India or West Indies or whoever, or is it Test cricket? I think any Australian cricket fan is going to say, we want Josh Hazlewood, we want the best Test attack in the world. We want one of the premier fast bowlers in history. We want him playing the whole summer.
Is it getting to the point where clearly a choice needs to be made, or if he's like, no, I want to play all formats, you almost can't pick him in the squad because it's so disruptive, because there's a high risk that he could get injured heading into the summer? Or is that, it might have been too dramatic?
I think sometimes there you have to take it out of the player's hands, right? Like if you want him playing in the whole Test summer and you recognise that he probably can't if he is having these injuries going from one format to the other, take it out of the player's hands and go, look, we think this is what you should be doing.
Yep.
Like Mitchell Starc retired from T20 cricket this year. Perhaps that's a conversation that needs to be had with Josh Hazlewood, depending on what his preference is. Like, if he turns around and says, "No, I want to play T20 in 1 days," because there's a lot of money in white ball cricket around the world, then maybe you respect that. But I think a conversation might have to happen about whether he's a 3 format bowler.
Okay.
I've always been a staunch advocate of it. Like in some meaningless T20 or ODI series that no one will remember 2 weeks after it finishes. Don't play them. Like, who cares? And it's like, as you said, it's probably a different story when you're talking. Like, you could never stop them from playing like an IPL or anything because of the money that's on offer. Like, it's just they don't really have the power to do so. But as you said, especially as he's getting older, an Ashes summer, like screw the international.
And he's earned
T20
his money
series.
too. I'd assume.
Yeah, get himself right for T20 World Cups, ODI World Cups, but the crap in between, like, sure, play a few games here and there, but you don't need to be playing all 3 formats all the time.
Okay.
The good news is that 4 years ago, the last time Hazlewood and Cummins, I think, missed a test on home soil, Australia won in Adelaide against England anyway. So no dramas. We've got new boys coming in. Everything's fine.
So who's the new boys coming in, and how much faith do we have that they get the job done?
Have you heard of Scott Boland?
Have heard of him. He's 6 at the Q, wasn't it?
Yeah, six at the G, they call it. But Scott Boland is effectively coming in. I think he's almost a better like for Hazlewood. Obviously, he was already coming in for Cummins. Don't need to go through his stats. His record in Australia is out of control. He's got Joe Root out 4 times in one series, which is actually more than Josh Hazlewood has in 15 years on Australian soil. Hazlewood's got him out a couple of times in England as well, but that's by the by. And the other guy, Brendan Doggett, who I think is nailed on to make his Test debut this week.
How old is Doggett?
He's not a young man, so he's 31, and he's a really interesting story because basically, I mean, if you're an Australian fast bowler, you tend to have your own injury story, and he's definitely done that. He's only played, I think, about 50 first-class games in that, which by 31 is unders for what you'd expect.
Yep.
About 10 years ago, he was working as a carpenter in Toowoomba and effectively playing like grade cricket on a Saturday afternoon, and then kind of thought that he'd maxed out on his talent, but gave it another crack and, got called up to the Queensland team, won a couple of Shield finals with Queensland. 3 years ago, moved down to South Australia, and it's kind of there where he's really kicked on with his career. Was fantastic in the Shield final earlier this year, with South Australia broke a long-standing drought. Maybe not quite as long as Canberra Raiders drought, but a pretty long drought. Sorry,
It's been nice having you on, Bar.
Holy
Hope you enjoyed your one-off experience.
Oh my God, that was so good.
But yeah,
Drive-by.
Deserve to.
He's come in. He's in really good
We're
form.
talking about cricket.
Sorry, I just caught you out of the corner of my eye, and I thought, what's another really long drought? He's in really good form. He's got 5 for us in his past 2 Shield games. Jason Gillespie, one of the all-time greats of Australian cricket, he absolutely loves Doggett. He's about 6'2", so he's not as tall as the elite kind of Australian fast bowlers that we've got at the moment. Like Hazlewood's taller, Cummins is taller, Stark's taller, but he's not a short man. He'd be the tallest person in this room.
I don't know about that, mate.
He's nice and quick. He's 140 Ks. He can go all day. Very, very fit. He's very exciting. An interesting thing about him, he will, if he plays on Friday, become the 3rd Indigenous Australian male to play Test cricket, which is quite extraordinary, really, when you consider how long Test cricket's been going around. Yep. And for the first time ever, it would be 2 Australian males in the same team, because Scott Boland is obviously Indigenous as well, and Jason Gillespie being the 3rd. So Doggett's very exciting prospects. Would be anything like what we expect from how he'll go against Bazball and the ultra aggressive English batting.
Is Bazball real, or is it like Santa Claus?
Depends who you ask, mate.
Like Christmas is really good sometimes when you believe in Santa Claus, but most of the time he's not real.
I think Bazball's real in England, and then over here, well, they've never really had a successful Bazball series outside of England.
It's real. It's just shit.
Okay.
Well, Steve Harmison wrote a column for us this week. Steve Harmison, you might remember, most famous in Australia for bowling 1 to second slip, where Andrew Flintoff caught it to start a series. He wrote a column for us this week saying, yes, Bazball is real, but we stole it from Australia. Like, they stole that playing style from Steve Waugh's all-conquering team of the early 2000s, which obviously the idea is just score runs quickly. That's if you boil it down to one point, and we had
like attacking cricket pretty much.
We had Matt Hayden, we had Adam Gilchrist scoring at.
Isn't that so English? Like, take something that is so fundamental to what you're actually playing, repackage it as something crazy and new.
Pretend you invented it.
And pretend you invented it. Like, it's like attacking side being like, oh, we play Broncos rugby league because we're super. It's like, it's literally half the game, bro. Relax. Relax.
Well, I'm very excited to see what Bazball does this summer, because obviously it works in England, because historically over the past kind of 3 or 4 years when they've been doing Bazball, they roll out super flat decks, like as hard as the ground in here.
When you say it works in England, haven't they been shit for 3 or 4 years?
It works in England. Like they
go right in England?
No, they win a lot of tests in England.
It's very reliant on how the pitches are set up. So like
batsman-friendly wickets.
Yeah,
which
so
there's not much doing. So that it's
in their own country,
batter-friendly.
they just can produce super flat decks, really good for batting.
Whereas Australia has a bit of spice on the deck, doesn't it?
The home nation basically dictates what they want the decks to be like. So,
and Australia's a spicy deck. Spicy deck.
We've got some flat ones as well.
We're rolling out some green ones this summer.
Yeah.
I mean, that was when we were expecting to have Cummins, Stark, and Hazlewood as our big 3. But I think if you're rolling out flat decks, I don't know if you can necessarily trust the Australian top 6 to go with a team that is tailor made for scoring big runs like that. They'll have Harry Brook. If you roll out a flat deck, Harry Brook might average 150 this series.
Wow.
Whereas if you put the spicy decks out there and the ball's moving left and right, maybe Harry Brook averages 25.
The flatter it is, like the MCG is traditionally, or it's getting a bit better now. They're adding a bit more to it in recent years, but it's been a very flat deck.
Okay.
And
can I be totally honest with you?
Yes.
I just heard the great cricketer call it a spicy deck. I don't even know what that means.
But put it this way. There should be plenty of spicy decks, meaning there's a bit of life in them, Kempy.
Okay, a bit of life in them.
The ball's moving a bit, some obscure bounces.
Could have a green tinge to it, but if there's a bit of extra grass, that means more movement off the wicket.
What it also means is probably going to be some very short test matches.
Which the Australian... might not help the Australian finances, because if you have a 3-day test or a 2-day test, then you lose out on the revenue from day 4 and 5. So occasionally they might say, give it a bit of both for the batsmen so that we can get to a fourth day. But winning the Ashes is more important, right? So let's give them some spicy decks.
Spicy decks, hey? Get your spicy decks out, Kiwis. If you said it like that, you know what I'm saying, mate. Okay, there's been a lot of chest beating of how dominant Australia are going to be. We're just going to come over. England hasn't won in 15 years over here or something along those lines. We're going to pound them when they get over here. Are we getting less confident as we get closer with all these things going on, or how are we feeling?
Yes, are we getting less confident without two of the best fast bowlers in history being in the team? I think that's very, very fair to say. The Australian batting order is itself fairly concerning. Like, England's bringing out two express pace bowlers in Jofra Archer and Mark Wood. Obviously, two guys who can definitely intimidate you on the pitch, and if you're rolling out spicy decks, then it's going to work for them as well as it works for us. Australia has big question marks at the top of the order. It looks like they're probably... I think they're going to pick Jake Weatherald to open. He's been included in the 15-man squad. But
how old is he?
Jake Weatherald is more of a veteran rather than like a... He's not a Sam Costas, but I think he's late 20s.
Okay, so late 20s. Because I was going to say,
like 28, 29. 31.
The big knock on Australia is like, why aren't you developing enough young guys to open for us? And then once again, we're going towards an older, more experienced guy.
We did try with Constas, and it worked for one innings.
Isn't that like one extreme to the other? Like, okay, let's get the 19-year-old, the 20-year-old. Like, surely there's like a 23 or 24-year-old that we can bring in, or 25 even, Well,
the other guy who was firmly in contention was Matt Renshaw, who was also, not getting on, but he's kind of closer to 30 than he is to the teenagers. There probably is a concern a little bit. Like, basically, what we've seen in Shield cricket over the past 5, even 10 years is a shift towards more bowler-friendly wickets, which is the opposite of what we've seen in England. So we've got a lot of guys, like a lot of young fast bowlers who are putting up crazy numbers, whereas it's getting harder and harder for young batsmen to score big hundreds, get those 1,000-run Shield seasons.
Is that a game-based problem where they're trying to make it more exciting, more wickets, more highlights, or is it just that's natural progression of the game?
I think it's just Australian wickets, right? Like, it's kind of how we base our cricketers around wickets that offer bowlers a bit of something. You don't want 4-day draws in Shield cricket. I don't watch 4-day draws in Shield cricket.
It'll require a whole standalone episode, Kempy, but I generally think since the introduction of T20 cricket and since it became big, batsmen have lost their temperament, their ability to leave a ball and grind an innings. Again, it's a far bigger debate, but I honestly think that has led to, inferior batsmen than what we saw 15, 20 years ago.
Okay. And so it's going to eventually catch up to us. So I'm assuming we can't just keep going, let's get a 31-year-old because we want to win this test now. We've got to make the painful call eventually, don't we?
There's a couple of young batsmen in Victoria who show a lot of promise, and they're the kind of guys you need to invest in, and you want to give them 3 or 4 seasons of Shield cricket to kind of get them battle hardened for the bigger things to come. I generally don't think that an Ashes series, even an Ashes series at home, I don't think that's the right time to throw a young kid into that sort of furnace. Like,
you agree with the Constas call last year, even though he was incredible?
Probably not. I mean, at the time I did, because everything was so exciting about him, and the way he
broke momentum to a degree.
The way he took on Bumrah was series defining. Like, if he doesn't do that, Australia might well lose that series to India. But if you look at the subsequent 12 months, don't think it's been good for his development. I think he's a little bit muddled in how his how his approach is to the game. I think Timmy's right. A bit of T20 cricket. Obviously, he went back after that and played in the Big Bash, which was great. And he's a really exciting batsman, but I think he's a little bit muddled in what he wants to be.
Who he is as well.
Because growing up, he wasn't a guy who was doing ramp shots. He wasn't this super flashy guy. He was like a really kind of well-structured, kind of composed batsman. And now you look at him and it's just like, you're kind of a little bit here and there.
What's his identity as a batsman to a degree? Like, you've got your grindy footy player that's trying to throw offloads at the moment to a degree because it worked a couple of times.
100%. And I mean, he's only 19. Like, he's got a long way to go before anyone's going to start writing him off. But I think he's the sort of guy who definitely needs 1-2 solid summers with New South Wales just to find his game, if that makes sense. And I kind of think the same thing happened with Marnus. So Marnus was the best batsman in the world, and then made a point of wanting to get into the Australian one-day team to win a World Cup. And in order to do that, he had to kind of switch off and go, balls that I would normally leave outside the off stump, I have to play out because I need to find scoring, even if it's finding a single, I need to get off strike. I can't leave 4 or 5 balls in a row. Okay. And I reckon that's been a kind of a big part in him kind of nosediving over the past 18 months. But then you look at him this summer, I think he's found himself again. I think he's back batting at number 3 for Queensland. Obviously, Australia tried him out at opener, which I don't think he liked. And I think when he's comfortable batting number 3, put him at number 3. He scored runs for Queensland. He's by far the most informed batsman in Australia this summer. That's why I think you can't mess him around too much. Put him at number 3. Put Weatherald at opener.
And Webster.
Which moves Cam Green to 6. Cam Green obviously scored big runs last week, so I don't think...
Is he another guy that got brought in too early, do you think, Cam Green? Because he came in as the wonder kid, dipped... I know his injuries and that.
Yeah. I mean, I think he's been quite good for Australia. I might be on an island there, but he's produced some big innings. Hasn't really done it in Australia, which I know is important, like for Australian cricket fans to actually see you do it on Australian shores. But he scored big runs in New Zealand, like crucial centuries on that front. He's scoring runs for Western Australia. Was he brought in too early? Possibly, but if you're good enough, you're old enough. That sort of thing. I think he's still young. He's probably a future captaincy prospect. He's the sort of guy that you want to have in that setup for 10, 15 years.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wow.
But then the injuries have been problematic, but as they are with a lot of Australian cricketers.
How confident are you in Weatherald, like getting picked? Or is that what you would do or what you think will happen? That's
what I think will happen. I like that they're going with a specialist. I like that they're going with a specialist opener. I feel like that, if it didn't work with Steve Smith, who is Australia's second or third greatest batsman of all time, if it didn't work with him, it's not going to work with anybody. You can't just fashion an opener out of anybody. And I think it's a very, very important role to play. Like killing that ball for 10 overs, getting the juice out of the deck a little bit. I really think picking a specialist opener is the right way to go.
Sorry, for people that are a bit less familiar with cricket, essentially as an opener, because everything is fresh, the ball is fresh, the deck is fresh, it's that you need, I'm assuming, a more defensive batsman that can kind of get through those first few overs to take the sting out of the game?
It can be the worst. Like, it's probably the worst time to bat against a new ball, which when you've got the 2 shiny sides, you can get more movement through the air. Obviously, when one of the sides dulls, you can get swing as well, but definitely off the deck, it's just the most dangerous time. Like, the bowlers are fresh. So while, Australia had great success with, say, David Warner, who was a really aggressive batsman, I think the role of somebody like Usman Khawaja, who's like, I will face 60 balls before I really do anything. But you put miles in the legs of your opposition. You dull the ball a little bit. After 20 overs, things tend to die down, become a little bit easy to bat. That's why. One of the reasons why Steve Smith will bat at 4, because you want your best batsman to be in the best batting conditions for a test.
Makes sense.
I think Weatherald is more in the David Warner mould than he is Usman Khawaja, but I think he's kind of a little bit in the middle. So he'll like to push the tempo a little bit. But, I definitely think having a specialist there is crucial for this summer. I think that's why they're going to do it, and I think it's why they're going to lose Bo Webster, which is
Slug.
Crazy, because he's been seriously good in Test cricket this season.
Isn't he a bit of an... Oh, no, Slug's not an all-rounder, is he?
He is
an all-rounder.
So he's been taking wickets as well. I think like that. If Hazlewood had pushed through and not succumbed to this hamstring injury and played in the first Test, I think you could have made a really good case for Bo Webster to be in the team, because he took wickets for Tassie last week. He's a very good bowler. There are question marks around Cam Green's fitness and whether he can bowl more than, say, 10 overs in an innings. But without Hazlewood, I don't think they're going to go with 2 all-rounders. And I think if they're just picking 1 all-rounder, Cam Green's the golden boy.
Okay.
So that's who I'd
be opening Marnus, and I'd be picking Bo Webster. I think you're right in that the Hazlewood injury and like new quicks come in probably works against it because like, all right, we don't have as many injury concerns without quicks, but like it's all, I see what you mean, like having a specialist opener. It's all good and well bringing in a specialist opener, but that specialist opener could come in and average 15. You've still got to score runs, whereas you can have a more proven Bo Webster in there. We can get overs out of him. He's a bloody good bat. I know I'm not trying to concede the opening spot, but like Marnus has been phenomenal this summer. I'd be going that.
In your team, you've got two blokes batting out of position, basically. You've got Marnus, who doesn't want to open, and you've got Canberra, who's better at 6.
Weatherwood's been okay. He's had a lot of opportunities. He could come in and do a great job, but he's not sitting there banging out tons in shield and going, you have to pick me. It's like, oh, we need a specialist opener. He's the best of a bad lot. And I hope he comes in and kills it, but if he comes in and averages 15 or 20, it's like, well, why not have another all-rounder who's proven run scorer in Australia last summer? He can bowl. I'm just unfortunately not that confident in whether he'll come in and doing a job. I bloody hope I'm wrong, but...
Now, just before we wrap her up, what do we want to see from Marnus this summer? Do we want to see... Because my understanding, he can be quite a defensive batter that can just play out overs. Like, what do we want to see from him?
I want to see 2011 Alistair Cook. I want him to bat for a day and a half each time. Score big hundreds. Like your number 3 batsman has to be kind of like a guy who sets the trend for the whole lineup. Steve Smith's also in exceptional form and is, we don't need to wax lyrical about Steve Smith. He's the GOAT, but you need, Australia's going to need a lot of runs from Marnus, which he hasn't done for Australia for some time. Like he was out of form.
One innings last year that was pretty good, but outside of that, I think he's been pretty poor.
He's. I mean, there's a reason why he's been dropped, but I like the look of. It feels like he's tightened his technique a little bit up this summer. He's scoring runs in one-day cricket, first class, Shield cricket. I think Australia needs him to really set the tone. We know what we're going to get from Steve Smith, but I don't think Australia can win the Ashes with just one batsman. They might be able to. Steve Smith is extremely good, but I think they need one of Usman, Marnus, Travis Head. They need one of those guys to have a very good summer. Travis Head's probably the most likely. I think Usman's probably the least likely out of those 4. But in the form he's in, I think Marnus is a guy who Australia can count on, which is why I wouldn't move him from number 3. But I can see your vision, Timmy.
These are his scores, Kempy. Marnus this summer. It's been like a genuine shootout. It still is for those top order spots. These are his games for Queensland this season between first class cricket and like 50 over cricket. 50, 11, 101, 4, 159, 18, 105, 160, 2, 130.
Wow.
Firing.
Does that sound like he's being really aggressive though? Because it's usually like 4 or 100. It's not like, a lot of middle scores.
I don't think he's being he's not being overly aggressive in Shield cricket. He's scoring at a good clip.
Okay.
But
because obviously that sounds incredible. I was just looking at the difference, you know what I mean? It's not but maybe that's normal. I don't know.
Yeah, I thought, are they all Shield scores or are they some of those?
One day as well.
Yeah, one days as well.
Yeah.
So it's not unusual for him to get the odd good ball in one day cricket.
Yeah, okay.
But typically, like he styles himself off Steve Smith, which is absorb pressure for 50 balls, and then the runs will come, and that's fine. But he can, Marnus can definitely is a player who can score quickly. He's got all the shots, great through the covers, and ultra fit. So he's quick between the wickets. I don't think you don't sit there and get too concerned if he's 2 off 25. Same with Steve Smith, because the runs will come. Steve Smith was against Victoria. He was a 1 off 49 or something like that, and then went bang bang and hit consecutive boundaries and ended up on 90 odd. So runs will come.
Okay, mate. Thank you so much for joining us, Bardo. Appreciate it. Code Sports got a huge Black Friday sale right now. You can get a 12-month subscription for Code Sports for just $19. So our already discounted deal is usually $49 for the year, which is already discounted. But for this week only, it's $19. Guys, don't miss it. Use code Black Friday, one word. So codesports.com/bloke. Use code Black Friday to get $19 for the whole year. Trust me, you will not regret it. Especially like a whole year, like 6 months down the track, and you've only spent $19 to get access to all these incredible stories. You will not regret it, guys. $19. Codesports.com.au/bloke. Just the bloke community. Use code Black Friday. Thanks, Bardo, for joining us, mate. Appreciate it.
feel like with these heavy discounts, that's why I'm getting so many pay cuts. But no worries. Thanks for having me. I really enjoyed the chat.
Huge announcement, guys. Absolutely massive announcement. I finished Ghosts of Yotei. Proudly brought to you by Lontel. Because what I did, I finished Ghosts of Yotei, and then I went and downloaded Outer Worlds 2 in like 2 seconds. All thanks to Lontel. Best internet in the land. Go to lontel.net.au/bloke. But yeah, I finished Ghosts of Yotei, and I'm going to be honest, I'm sad. It feels like something's missing inside. I've been playing it for so many days, man. I've been playing it for like every probably second afternoon or once every arvo for an hour or so. I reckon for nearly a month. And the sort of story ended, and I'm not going to spoil it for anyone, but damn, hit me in the feels, bro.
I thought it was overrated.
Oh my God.
Considering the title, there was not enough ghosts in it.
Bro, hang on a sec.
Just my take.
That's actually fucking
Don't hate
bang
me for
on.
my opinion.
You know what's hilarious is that's actually bang on. The ghost is a metaphor for like an assassin. That's why it's called Ghosts of Yotei.
I know.
But speaking of overrated, Canberra Raiders.
We're going to need a new joke by 2026, boys.
Yeah, Garros. But yeah, Ghosts of Yotei, I finished it. Damn it, but it's like, it's done, man. Like, I was connected to it. Like, I was so connected to it, it's just gone. It's over. The heart, it feels like there's a little bit of a hole in it. Mate, you're a bit of a gamer or what? You played the first one, didn't you?
Yeah, I played the first one. I had the exact same feeling. Like, you know, when you're like, oh, what do I do with my life now? The void needs to be filled, and you're just waiting for the next one to drop. I feel like I know exactly how you feel.
Oh, man. So
if you need something to kill the time, international cricket captain 2005, one of the greats of all time.
Oh,
if you want to manage your cricket team without actually playing it, I went to right down your alley.
Yeah, I'm going to get onto it right now. I won't even go home.
You're currently playing it on your phone right now.
Yeah, I've been playing this whole time.
So Ghosts of Yotei. Look, I essentially 100%. Technically, I didn't 100% it, but I essentially 100%ed it. So there's a few charms in the gambling dens that I didn't get, but outside of that, I got everything. Fully upgraded, did all the wolf quests. So for my Ghosts of Yotei fans out there, finish it. It's a great game. I miss it, baby. I miss it. I miss you, baby. Miss you. See you soon. Ghosts of Yotei, or whatever the next one is. But yeah, thanks to Lontel. Download it through Lontel. Took 2 seconds. The best in the world. You guys know Lontel. It's such good internet. The amount of messages I get with guys thinking, like messaging going, wow, this is incredible. So give it a download. I'm probably going to start playing either Ark Raiders or, I don't know why I just whistled then, Ark Raiders. Or maybe Outer Worlds 2. I'm playing Hades 2 as well, here and there, but I might save that for travel because I can play that on a Steam Deck, which Lontel actually gave me as well, which thanks Lontel for that as well. So good. But anyway, shout out to Lontel. Shout out and respect, Atsu, respect. Alrighty, it is time for Ashley Mazda Service of the Week, proudly brought to you by Ashley Mazda. Luke, you know the drill, guys. LDC_1. Give him a message if you need a car. Currently got a very special, unique deal only for bloke community members on used cars. Give him a message, and always a massive thank you to Lukey for supporting the platform. And we're going to talk about transfer whispers and whose recruitment officer is going to serve them the best, because there's a lot going on at the moment, funnily enough. So some quick ones. Cam Munster. Mal Meninga has declared Munster won't be joining new franchise, ruling out a recruitment move for the talented 5'8". Cameron has indicated he's staying in Melbourne. That's what the word is to us. So there's that. Then Storm skipper Harry Grant reportedly set to put pen to paper on a mega 7-figure contract extension with Melbourne club this week, worth $1 million a season. Just want to ask you boys, like, is there ever been a club that's had to fight for a player's signature where they've like gone on and been dominant? Like, I'm sure there has, but when was the last time you saw a club that had to fight for a key player's signature that it's worked out relatively well in the sense they're fighting for a premiership? Because like the argument I would make is like, anytime you're in the news where a key player is like, I want more money or this, like, you know, I'm being massive unders or just whatever it is, I'm testing my value. Has it ever really worked out that well? Whereas like all the dominant clubs for a very long time, their key players essentially, I mean, you could argue Munster, but before like they haven't won a premiership, obviously. In 2020, before that, I don't recall him ever being linked. I mean, you got the Dolphins for a bit there, maybe. Was he linked? When did the Dolphins come in again? 22?
22, I think. 23.
23. So he wasn't even linked to Dolphins then. Yeah. So like, has it ever worked out well where a key player is fighting to stay or leave or whatever?
Yeah, I mean,
it would have. It would have.
Off the top of my head, I don't really know, but like, I mean, like the Broncos were fighting to retain Payne Haas a couple of years ago, right? Or was he?
Yeah. Well, look, I mean, the people I'd spoken to, that is a bit of a beat up, but maybe you could say Payne Haas.
Yeah,
you could say Payne Haas.
Yeah, I don't know.
All I'll say is that it's usually the bottom clubs that are fighting for someone's signature. The top clubs are usually like, and granted, I understand that's what comes with success. You can say, we win premierships, this is why you should stay here. But I just reckon if you've got a key player that's getting offered $800K and he's like, I'm going to test my value, it's like, usually doesn't work out well. And that's why, like, Harry Grant, like, does anyone think he's leaving the Storm?
Well, those figures, mate, thrown up, and like it's timely coming off the big conversation we had about Zac Lomax and chasing the money. Cameron Munster, like, it just seemed like he was going to Perth and going to finish his career there on $1.5 million a season. And by the sounds of it, if this is correct, he's staying in Melbourne for a hell of a lot less than that. Harry Grant, $1 million a year, he's worth more than that.
Yeah.
And especially to what Perth could
He could
offer.
sign a 4 or 5 year deal on $1.5 million a year with Perth, I reckon.
I agree.
Yeah.
Because they could build around him for, like, and what a marquee signing. If they're re-signing for that money, like, that is them taking unders.
Yeah. And that is basically $2 million, $2 to $3 million that he's sacrificing to stay at Storm. Yeah. What do you reckon, bro? Is it, first of all, the Harry Grant signing? Like it, don't like it? Thoughts?
Nah, I think Kit is staying there. Like, if they want to chase championships, you've just lost Pappy.
Yep.
But who I think won't be it will be a big loss, but not as big as people seem.
Okay.
I think keeping Harry Grant there, probably the premier 9 in the comp.
Yep.
Is something you need, and there's not really many 9s out there on the market. So if you have the best one in your own pocket, you got to look after him.
And what are your thoughts on, like, the better clubs aren't usually with the key players? Like, I always look at like a Paddy Carrigan or whatever. And granted, I know right now Payne Haas, the whole situation's going on. They're fighting to keep him. So I understand that it has happened. I'm just saying it's not a regular occurrence that the better clubs are fighting their star players to keep them.
Yeah, I think the better clubs are always in a better position to negotiate as well. I feel like if you're maybe a Newcastle, like somewhere where isn't a pristine like marketplace to go, you're obviously going to be fighting just to try to get names in the door.
Yep.
But I feel like with the big clubs, they know that less noise equals better.
Yep.
And I feel like if there's even with Cam Munster, like there was whispers, but there wasn't. Yeah, there's no yelling.
Yeah. Yeah, so true. So true. It's like, it was like all kind of innuendo, or even his manager came out and said, we've never approached the club asking to go anywhere. So it's just and look, I understand, like, it's very easy to say, oh, well, the best clubs, they don't let anyone go, or they do this, or they do that. But it's like, I understand a lot of it is because they win. Yeah. Like, they can say, oi, we win games, we get to close to winning comps. You can either stay or you can leave, kind of thing. But I do think there are some clubs that fight way too hard to keep players when it's like, you're already on the bottom of the table, bro. Like, it can't get that much worse. Like, okay, you instead of coming 15th, you came 16th, or 14th, you come 15th. It's like, you're spending all this money on a player that, like, you know what? Another good example is the Ben Hunt situation. Like, although, yes, clearly, like, Benny Hunt could go on to do better things. He won a premiership. But, like, have the Dragons, and I know they finished quite low this year, but, like, for most of the year, they were going pretty well. Like, there's a player where even how good Benny was playing for them, it wasn't working. Like, they weren't making the 8. So it's kind of like, rip the Band-Aid off, bro. Rip it off. Anyway, sorry?
I think the bigger clubs always have a, like, club is bigger than the player mentality, like, just from the outside looking in. And I feel like if you let the player be bigger than the club, I feel like that's kind of where you get let down. So I feel like those big clubs know, all right, this will be a big loss for us, but we need to keep our culture. We need to keep, like, how we're traditionally running our business. And that's our priority, is our culture and our organisation.
The standards that we've set, we're gonna go back on our standards just to keep a certain person. The jersey's bigger than the player. You're right. You're right. Absolutely right. Okay, this one's a really interesting one. Jerome Luai has all but ruled out leaving the West Tigers, despite a get-out clause in his contract that makes him a free agent in 2026. I have no intentions of doing that, Luai told Code Sports in response to potentially entertaining rival offers. The clause at the end of the day are that for security and to hold people accountable. The Tigers haven't had the best record in the past, so I think my manager did a great job of securing the deal that I have now. I want to say something about this, because this really has frustrated me. The bizarre, weird push and pressure to make Luai get rid of these clauses. It's been one of the strangest things I've ever seen. Like, why? What? Just because he wanted a young player that had been given, like, pretty much all the opportunity in the world, basically a whole club had backed him to, at the very least, handle a situation a little bit better. All of a sudden, to prove that he's loyal, he needs to get rid of his clauses. Like, it has been the strangest situation ever. Why the hell should Luai give up clauses in his favour just because to prove a point to people? This weird, bizarre pressure. Oi, The Tigers agreed to it. He agreed to it. It's part of his contract. It's part of the reason he went to the club from a premiership club was because they gave him this much leeway and this much power in the negotiations. That's how they got him. And then once he gets there, all of a sudden there's this weird pressure of like, man, unless you get rid of those clauses, doesn't mean you're loyal to the club. Even though you put your body on the line every single week, even though you keep telling everyone you're going to stay, like it just is so weird, bro. It's so weird that Luai is like this one person that needs to get rid of all of his clauses to prove his loyalty. How about you just watch how he plays and his commitment, to the club week in, week out? And I know people say, yeah, but people have said plenty of times they're not going to leave. Maybe, but that's a different person. That's not Luai. When has Luai ever shown evidence that he is not going to be loyal to a contract? And also, even if he's not, that's the fucking agreement that he signed. Like, that's the risk the Tigers took. It's so freaking weird. Like, imagine all this pressure on a club saying this club, if they want to prove they're loyal to this player, they better get rid of those clauses because that's not fair. That's clearly showing they're looking elsewhere. They might get rid of this player and that's not loyal to him and he's the one putting his body on the line. That would never, ever, ever happen. It's so weird. It's so strange. So I'm getting passionate, bro. I'm getting passionate.
I love it, bro. Close out, baby. Let's go. Straight away.
What do you reckon, bro?
Nah, I agree with you. Like, actions speak louder than words. I feel like he may not have the standout brilliant season, but he had a good season. And when he played with his heart on his sleeve. He created a culture there, not just him obviously, but a lot of the boys where they are proud to play for the Tigers.
Yeah.
Like, as if that's not enough. Like, he's going out every week, like you said, putting his body on the line. He's trying hard. He's working hard. They're trying to get better as a club. Can you not see the direction that they're going and think, all right, he's putting in a lot of effort here from not just a playing standpoint, but a leadership standpoint? I think I agree with
And
you.
what's crazy is, like, who gives a shit how he plays? Like, he could play 1 out of 10 every single week. If you go from 3 fucking wooden spoons to a couple of tough losses outside the 8, that's improvement. Like, we're so obsessed with this, like, individual, he needs to be Reece Walsh every week. No, bro, you just need to win games. Why do you think that when you look at the Melbourne Storm, most weeks you're like, man, no one actually really, like, you've got your Munsters and your Harry Grants, but, like, a lot of the time you're like, oh, no one really stood out this week. Like, it was a very much, a team kind of effort, especially maybe not the new Storm, but the old Storm. Sometimes you could watch them play outside of Billy Slater, obviously, and be like, I can't even remember who had a good game. They just dominated. Like, this weird thing that unless this recruit has a 10 out of 10 game every week on the stat sheet, he's not doing his job. The reason Luai was brought to the club was to change the culture. Like, that's the number one priority. Granted, yes, you do want him to play some good games here or there. It was to change the culture. I think they came 12th. A couple of, silly losses here or there. And also, they came 12th in the year where they lost their best young gun that they've put all their resources into. Essentially the biggest story of the year too, and they still managed to finish 12th. Like, what else do you... Just so bizarre. Timmy, am I getting too passionate for no reason here?
You're not, mate, and you can be a hard act to follow sometimes, Kempy, and this is one of those times, so I'm not going to try and outdo you or add too much because I think you've covered it very well.
Yep.
And look, Jerome summarised it very well. I think he mentioned it and he, probably put it politely, but the Tigers haven't had the best track record in the past. They've been a basket case in the past with their signings and player retentions, the way they've dealt with it, so... Jerome Law wouldn't be doing this at the Melbourne Storm or the Brisbane Broncos or plenty of other, like, the bigger clubs in the competition. But when you go into the Tigers and, they've made their own bed with what they've done in the past, to get someone like Jerome Luai, they had to do it. So, I love that Jerome Luai has come out and knocked it on the head so early. Like, no, I'm staying. I'm not getting rid of the bloody clauses that are there for a reason, as you said, but I'm staying, put this crap to bed, let's move on.
And he's right. He says... I've got the clauses at the end of the day are for security, for him, for his his future, and to hold people accountable. Because guess what happens in every single contract negotiation? The world is promised. We're changing. You're going to get this. You're going to get that. Go and speak to, and I promise you, any rugby league player, even the GOATs, and say, has a club always kept their word to you? And they'll say, no. The amount of times I've been in contract negotiations and everything's promised to me, I get like 1 out of 10 of those things. And so he's got it in there going, okay, you're promising me the world. Now, granted, the promise doesn't have to be a premiership. It just has to be certain things of being a well-run club and having certain standards and expectations. You got to remember, Luai was a 4-time premiership winner. He was a 4-time premiership winner, and someone might say, oh, well, he wouldn't have got paid $1.2 million at another club. He would have got paid $900,000, or $800,000. It's not life-changing difference money. It's yes, it is good money that he gets extra couple $100,000, but I'm telling you, he would have, if let's say the Tigers had come in and kind of not really sold the new direction, I'm telling you, he much would have taken $800,000 at a club that's just going okay than an absolute schmozzle. That, like, the clauses are in there, like, I'm a 4-time premiership winner. I want to help this club turn around, but I'm going to need you guys to play your part as well. It's just been so weird watching this. Like, you're not loyal unless you get rid of those clauses. We've never ever seen them do that to a club. When club, that's what's part of negotiations. You're basically saying, hey, you know the things that you negotiated that were really part of the reason you came to the club? Give them up for free. Just give them up for free. So strange. Matty, what do you think, mate?
Why are you worrying about something that hasn't even happened yet?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Okay, if he says, I'm leaving next year, then you can get your knickers in a knot. Oh, okay, he shouldn't have left. But he's said 100 times. He's literally said 100 times he's staying. So, fucking who cares?
But also, if he is leaving next year, then clearly the club's not going in the direction he thought it was going or whatever. But also, it's part of the contract, bro.
They wouldn't have got him without these clauses.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's part of the contract. Imagine the reverse, getting angry at a club that didn't exercise a player option that was in their favour and going, oh man, how dare you? No loyalty. You'd be like, that was the agreement. Anyway, so it just frustrates me the amount of pressure that's been put on him to prove his loyalty to people that don't give a shit about the Tigers. They just want him to because he came out strongly as a leader should in the Galvin situation. Because he came out so strongly, all of a sudden it's this weird we're going to get you. You're a hypocrite. We're going to prove you wrong because you came out so. What did Luai do wrong in that situation? We don't know what happened behind closed doors. All we do know is he was a leader. There was a certain belief he had in a situation. He made decisions and he's followed it through. That's all we do know at this stage. Anyway, I've got to talk about it, even though we spoke about it last week. But the Broncos lose Kobe Black to the Raiders. Now, we haven't spoken about this on the Monday show, have we?
No.
I don't think we have. Okay. So, long story short, I think most people would have seen my segment on it last week. My opinion on it initially was really confused because I was just you're essentially in the same position, respectfully, at a club further away from a premiership. Now, the more I look into it, the more I actually think the decision was made up by Madge rather than Kobe Black. Now, maybe I'm wrong there, but when you look at going in and signing Pezzett, going and signing Duffy, kind of looks like Madge may have made his decision up in regards to who's next up. I'm not sure. However, I think that the Raiders recruitment over the last 2 years, you could argue it's the best recruitment in the competition. It has been nothing short of incredible. When you think that they got Strange from the Roosters, they got Sanders from the Eels, and they've just nabbed a guy that the Broncos have been developing since he was 14 years old after a premiership, it's incredible. It's a great get. And there's a world where the Raiders are going into the next decade with Sanders, Black, and Strange fighting for halves jerseys is actually insane. Timmy, I'll get your thoughts on the situation, mate.
Yeah, very exciting. And the thing about it is, the Raiders, it's a bit of a running joke. We struggle to attract the top players in the game because no one wants to move down to Canberra because it's too cold. But very good at recruiting, and we have to sort of think outside the square, and that's been with Englishmen in recent years, but certainly the youth talent and the best up-and-coming players. And maybe we pay them a bit extra to get them down there early, but as you said, the targets we're getting at young ages are absolutely flying. So despite it being tough to get the big names at the peak of their careers, we're also very good at retaining players, once we've got them. So, again, the devil's advocate, you might sit there and go, they're getting Kobe Black an opportunity down there for a couple of years' time, then we'll bring him back in a few years' time and he'll be seized, and happened sort of with a Reece Walsh sort of set up with the Broncos. But players come and stay at the Raiders.
Yeah.
I'm not saying there's not examples of them not, but you look at blokes like Josh Papali'i, Joe Tarpany, even some players like an Ethan Strange or whoever it might be in more recent years. They come and we retain them for whatever reason that is, good club culture, buying into Ricky Stewart, and instead Ricky Stewart's weaving some magic getting these young talents down. So as you said, we're just so well placed, and you now add in that Ethan Strange will be our 6 next year, and there's all this pressure on Ethan Sanders. There's even more now because Kobe Black's there. He'll be 20 when the season kicks off, have just turned 20. We've now got, this great battles for key positions. So it's very exciting.
How do you feel if you're Sanders?
Fine. I'm sitting there going, at this stage, Ethan Sanders hasn't proven anything. I think he'll get first crack at the 7 jersey for the Raiders, and if he plays well, he'll keep that long term and it won't be an issue. But if he sits there and Kobe Black's better than him and he's not performing, then, it's professional sport. He said he'll get his opportunity. He now needs to take it.
Yeah, I'm with you. Like, initially, there's a natural reaction to go, oh, hang on a sec. Like, isn't Sanders supposed to be the man? That's why he was brought to the club. He left the Eels. When you think about it, it's like, well, hang on a sec. Like, you don't own the jersey.
No.
Like, no, nothing. Like, yeah, you're owed whatever the word was given to you, which is our plan is you're the next guy up. You will get the first crack. Obviously, you're owed that. But anything outside of that, it's kind of like, yeah, okay, is there a bit of like, oh, you don't back me in to get the job done? Yeah, I mean, maybe you could argue that. But I think Ricky's probably got enough, good enough communication skills to be like, mate, this doesn't mean we back you in any less or more. This is professional sport. Every week, you got to be the best you can be. Otherwise, you lose your jersey. I'm with you, mate. The initial reaction is like, oh, bit of a sting to Sanders. But then you're like, mate, no one's owed a jersey. No one's owed a jersey.
Ethan Sanders was signed and he would have been told, you'll get a crack, which will probably be round 1, 2026. Yep. He'll get that opportunity, barring a disastrous preseason. And if he doesn't take it, then he'll be out like any other athlete on the planet. Like, I feel sorry for Hugo Savala, who was fantastic last year and will be pushed out by Daly Chervins. But in a Sanders case, it's like, no, he needs to prove he's ready at this level.
Yeah, like if Sanders had come in last year and killed it, you'd be a bit like, oh, okay, that's a bit weird. But it's like, he hasn't really done that much. Thoughts on the Black to Raiders, man?
So correct me if I'm wrong. Is he going next year or 2027?
Yeah, so he'll stay at the Broncos because I'm pretty sure we're winning another premiership, so we need a bit of backup. And then he's going after that to go to a lowly club in Canberra.
So I feel like Ethan Sanders still gets a whole year to prove that he's the 7.
Yeah.
And I feel like what Tim was saying, Ricky does a good job at recruiting young players, maybe players that are like outside, your top 17, like Sasangi. And
the goat,
the big,
the actual goat.
Holy hecker!
Where did he come from?
No way!
Holy shit!
If I wanted to keep going for Canberra, it's because of the great man Simi Sasangi also. But like they get players like that, they come, they compete for spots, and he creates a culture of if you compete, you can win. And I think that's what builds them into such a good team. I feel like he's getting Kobe Black in. They're going to say compete against each other. If you're good enough, you'll play. Then Sanders, I think, will take the next step. If you don't, Kobe Black will come in and he'll take the next step. So I feel like he at least gets a whole year to prove if he's the 7 for the future.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, thoughts, take off your Raiders hat for a second there, Timmy. I know it's hard, mate. But thoughts on just the pure, thoughts on the Kobe Black decision. If you were his manager and you're only thinking about what's best for you right now, I'm not saying Raiders are not a good club. They are. You guys know I'm a big fan of the Raiders, what they've achieved. Ever since I've been in a match with Timmy, it pisses me off a little bit when they win, but that's okay. Raiders are a great club. They really are. But I think in the fair dinkum department, which we all live in, at least in this studio, the Broncos are in a really red-hot position right now. What are your thoughts on the decision? Do you lean more into Madge kind of made the call, or is this a young guy a bit frustrated at the last couple of recruitments and he's out of there?
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because it looks like there's such a natural progression in when Adam Reynolds retires, when Ben Hunt retires, and there's a spot in the halves alongside Ezra Mam, and that's realistically probably 2 years away. It's not far for a bloke that's still 19 at the moment.
And Kobe Black has next year to prove he's the next man up too. You never know what will happen.
And again, I'm only guessing, but which to me suggests Madge, because if Madge wanted him there to be the halfback in 2027, he'd have him. So there's probably a fair bit of Madge in it.
It has to be because and also how rushed the decision was as well. Wouldn't you, if you're Kobe Black's team, be like, listen, man, let's just wait till mid-year. You could come out and rip, and your contract's going to be worth way more at somewhere else. I guess the other thing was that there's a possibility maybe he just doesn't enjoy playing under Madge, which is understandable. Certain personalities suit certain people. The only thing is outside of Craig Bellamy, the closest to Madge is probably Ricky Stewart in style of coaching.
Yeah.
So that doesn't make sense to me,
Yeah. And I mean, look, whatever Ricky's sold to him, it was a good pitch to get him down there. And look, he might be sitting there going, all right, you're in we're meant to be in a rebuilding period this year and you won a minor premiership. All right, you're knocked out early, but you look at blokes like Owen Paddy down there, like Kyo Weeks, Ethan Strange going, all right, you're building towards a premiership and I want to be a part of this. So, look, it took me by surprise, absolutely.
Yeah. I got a random message, so this is just a random internet message and I hate to gossip, but the message said something along the lines of it's to play with someone specifically, a friend or whatever. Got to do your research though. Haven't done the research yet. But is it an Owen Paddy thing? Because Paddy's from Queensland, isn't he?
Yeah, I think he's Rocky, Paddy around there.
So again, this is okay. Now we got our. Oh damn! Just wait 2 seconds. Sorry, had to get my. We're in conspiracy mode. Could it be like, okay, so Ezra and Walshy, and this is pure speculation, conspiracy mode. Kempy's conspiracy, new segment. Could it be, so Reece Walsh, Ezra, those like boys, like they're all pretty much a clique, like, you know, and I know Paddy's a little bit older and Payne and that, but like they're all of each other's generation. Is there a world where Kobe Black's looking at a guy like Owen Paddy, Strange, even Sanders to a degree? They're all around the same age, I think like a year or two apart. And he's looking at that going, I want to do that myself. I'm not going to do it at the Broncos as being part of this crew that goes on to win a premiership. I want to go and do it with the crew of my generation and win a premiership with another club. Is that a possibility, do you think?
It could be.
Yeah, because Owen Paddy's 21 from Rocky.
Yep.
And Black is turning 20 this year, I think.
Yeah, so I'm trying to find out if there's a link there of them having played together or anything.
Yeah.
But yes, possibly.
Yeah, maybe, Matty, could you look into like Sanders is a New South Welshman, Paddy is a Queenslander, maybe someone else in the squad that's a Queenslander? Anyway.
Paddy probably makes the most sense, but yeah.
Yeah. What do you reckon, bro?
I was thinking like, it just like doesn't make sense. Like you get to stay another year. You might not play as much, but you get to learn off, you know, Adam Reynolds and the little nuances and Ben Hunt, and you get to soak up everything you get.
If you just extended for 1 year,
yeah,
you mean? Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I couldn't. I think maybe he just wants to play more. Maybe he saw Jonah Pezzett come into the Broncos and then was like, you know what, I'm not gonna play. I want to go somewhere where I can compete and I can play. And I feel like maybe it wasn't the most patient move.
Yep.
But maybe I think he thinks he's ready. So I reckon he's backing himself in. Yeah. Like, I'm going to take that spot and I'm going to play.
Yeah, super interesting because, like, I think probably the nail in the coffin though was probably Duffy from the Cowboys. Because if you're
that's a lot of halves coming.
That's a lot of halves coming. Like it's a, and granted, like when you look at Ben Hunt and Reynolds' age, like it makes sense that they would bring all these halves in.
But then you sit there and go, all right, when they signed these new halves to come to the club, did they know Kobe Black was leaving by this point? Did Black leave after they were signed?
Like, was he already unhappy?
Yeah, because that just, you need context of knowing when internally do they know about all these different things? Because
like by reports, he's been, you know, like up and down in Q Cup, and as any 19 half would be. It's not you know, no knock on the young fella. Like that's literally you know naturally how you would progress through the New South Wales Cup. The good thing, the really positive thing for Kobe Black is you're not hearing reports, oh, he's struggling in Queensland Cup. Like that's when you go, oh shit. But the fact that you're hearing, yeah, pretty good. Like he's not setting the world alight, but he's getting through it. That's a good thing. That's not a bad thing. Got anything there, Matty?
Look, they don't follow each other on Instagram, Owen Paddy and Kobe Black. So
maybe they're fighting.
That is actually
confirmation.
Yeah, that's confirmation right there.
Well, I typed their names into Google and nothing came up together. So I'll keep digging, but
we'll keep digging. Maybe go to the Raiders squad potentially. Is there a best mate there that's a bit younger? Maybe he's secretly an Uso with Sasangi.
He's probably Kobe Black's probably Samoan. They're from the same village.
Village. Okay. So yeah, I just thought I'd get your thoughts, Timmy. So overall, love it.
Freaking oath.
Yeah,
great signing.
Do you agree with my statement that like low key Raiders have done the best recruitment in the last 2 years?
It's fantastic.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like when was the last time, being a Raiders fan for as long as you have been, that they've recruited essentially the best young talent in the competition without paying crazy overs?
Yeah, I mean, I don't remember a class this good, but the Raiders, like Canberra, have always been quite good at developing their own talent. They've got really good juniors coming through.
Yeah, of course, because, for sure. But recruiting the best of the best from juggernaut clubs.
Yeah.
Like usually you develop the players and send them to the juggernaut clubs.
We're grabbing them, which is wonderful to see.
In key positions too. Like KO Weeks from Manly.
Yeah.
I know Manly's not a juggernaut club, respectfully, but still, it was a club that just couldn't get the best at KO Weeks. He was this close to a Dally M this year. That's how good he was.
Yeah.
Now, next thing. Thoughts, Raiders getting brushed from Magic Round. Take out the idea of like the scheduling and the fact that your buys are pretty spaced out. What are your thoughts on it? Just purely from a fan's perspective. Raiders
like,
fan.
Generally speaking, I don't care because every team gets their chance to miss Magic Round, and it's a shame next year they won't be there to watch them. But like, it is what it is. Like
Really?
Yeah, well,
you don't see as a bit of disrespect in the fact you want a minor
yes,
premiership?
100%. That's what I say. The timing of it's weird.
Yeah.
We just won a freaking minor premiership. We haven't had this much hype since, making the grand final over 5-6 years ago. It's like coming off the hype, what we're building. We're also one of the most exciting teams in the competition. We play a great style of footy. We won that epic Magic Round game against Melbourne last year. It's like this year of all years to miss it is weird to me. But the bigger picture, I'm like, look, everyone has to miss it at one point. But yeah, I just thought it was an odd year to be brushed.
I just think it's like, I'm with you in regards to even if the Broncos missed it, I'd be like, okay, every year someone has to miss it. That's the way it is. But the thing that I guess from trying to be unbiased as possible is why do the bigger clubs just get treated so there's no fucking way if the Broncos won a minor premiership. I'll say the Roosters or something like that.
Not a chance they miss it.
They're missing Magic Round. But because the Raiders are a relatively smallish club, and I know someone said, the least amount of fans travelled, so that's why they didn't win. Hang on a sec. Canberra, Cowboys are essentially locked in, so you can discount them. Canberra are essentially the furthest away club from from Brisbane. You've got the Melbourne Storm, who have a massive Queensland base, obviously because of the Queensland thingo. You've got the Warriors, who they represent a whole country. I mean, Gold Coast essentially is second New Zealand right now. So with the Canberra Raiders, to use the metric of fans travelled, it's bro, it's just not fair or right. You're saying, okay, this team that is travelling from ages away is getting compared to other teams with a way bigger base that has way more resources, way more everything, blah, 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 that has to travel way less. Doesn't make any sense.
Not at all.
I don't buy that argument. And I just think that every year we sit there and have caveats of well, technically it should be this team, but because of this rivalry or because they're this team that has this big following, we're not going to do it. It's how about for 1 year we go, they won the minor premiership? Yeah, I think they probably should be a manager.
Such a weird
year. Even if that wasn't your thing, just go, they were probably the match of the round last Magic Round. I think that, I'll have a think about it. Actually, they were involved in the 3 best games last year. Manly versus Melbourne Storm versus Raiders at Magic Round, Penrith versus Raiders out in the country, funnily enough, a travelling game, but 2 travelling games, and then Broncos in the in the finals.
The 3 most magical games of the season.
Bizarre. And then the one that mattered, they didn't win. Anyway. Woo! Reece Walsh.
Bloody hell.
I love you, bro. Just wait.
It's cricket season, boys. Get back to the cricket. Where's Bardo?
Any more digging there, Matty, or no, you can't find nothing?
Nah, I kind of skimmed through the squad just on Instagram, so I can't find anything. Someone's going to have to actually give me a name.
Okay. Matt, look, we've been clickbaited. I've been clickbaited by some dude in the messages you know what, I'll just tell Denon a fucking rando story.
It could be someone who's not in their top 30, to be fair.
Yeah, potentially. But that's a big leave. Leaving that to play with it, mate. Holy heckers.
He's trying to get on the show.
Yeah, 100%. You did 1-0. 1-0, you got me. Just quickly, what else happened? The draw, other whispers. Tokiaho, 1 year extension, understand that. Titans, Perth Bears going to both for more, understand that. Eels locking in Adakar, love that for them. Hunt considering going around again. That's an interesting one. Geez, I mean, it just depends what he wants to do. But to stay at the Broncos, he's essentially going to have to stay on minimum if he stays. Because, you just can't make that sacrifice. I mean, he's already on, 5? I think he's on 500K or something at the moment, which is probably worth a bit more than that. But we'll just skip past that bit. Because you can't afford to not upgrade some of these young boys at the Broncos. We're speaking about Cody Black the whole time. Blake Moser was supposed to start the bloody season at 9. What about his upgrade? When's that coming? So, yeah, I'm trying to think. Anything else? Keon. Off contract South and Kangaroos enforcer, Kolomatangi is reportedly... How do you say that? Do you know how to say that properly, bro? Kolomatangi, okay.
I think, I hope so.
He's reportedly being chased hard by the Eels Raiders as weighs up his future beyond 2006. I'll throw to... What are your thoughts, mate, on him potentially leaving Rabbitohs?
I reckon it'll be tough for them because I feel like the Rabbitohs, maybe in their own organisation, are in win now mode. Wayne Bennett, you just got Dave Fafita at the club. I thought they were trying to build to win last year. Didn't go their way. And losing someone as good as him, he is a weapon. He can play on the edge. He can straighten up an attack. He can play in the middle and get through a bunch of work. I feel like if you're Souths, you're hurting with it. But if you're Parramatta or the Raiders, if you're the Raiders, the rich get richer. Man, him and Simi Sasangi. Holy country.
Holy. Tarpane, him, Big Red.
Huddo.
Hudson Young.
Nat Nicholson.
Jeez.
Oh, my gosh.
Your brother Hosking. Thoughts on the Raiders, chat?
Fuck, I didn't see it coming. I freaking hope so.
Imagine him and Tarpane in the front.
Tongue to that pack.
Would he play as a middle, front row?
Yeah, he's a middle now.
Yeah.
He's too good in the middle. You
And
can't.
He said, yeah.
Because of your boy, it's Sasangi. Like, with how good he's been on the edge, like, I said Matty Nicholson, like Hudson isn't leaving an edge.
Yep.
Sasangi's a gun on the edge. Matty Nicholson was great, so if he was coming, it'd be as a middle.
Yeah, you got Hosking there as well. Like, geez, that forward pack. And what's crazy is like
It's already the best.
the Raiders have the best balance, arguably the best balanced cap in the competition. They only got one person, I think, in the top 100 or top 50 or whatever rich list, and it was Tarpane on 800k, which is still unders. Pretty sure it was 800k.
If we added Kalamatangi for 2027 and beyond, and our young spine are starting to not hit their peak, but to hit their straps, woo.
Oh man, could you imagine him and like the 1-2 punch of him and Tarpane? Like, what are you doing there? Because like, not only are they, they can do quick play the balls and everything, their footwork, their offloads, like they're arguably some of the most well-rounded front rows in the comp.
And the spot would be there because it'll be Papa out, Keon in. They'll be on different money, but like Papa would still be taking up a decent chunk.
Far
Imagine
out.
Tarpane coming at you, and then you got to get up and see quick play the ball, and you got to see Keon coming off the back of that.
And then Owen Paddy scooting up one hand. See you later.
And then Goats Sasangi comes in and just scores 3 tries.
Grubber kick, Hudson Young.
The Roosters have reportedly locked up Rob Toya on till 2029 with a $2 million contract. I love how they say $2 million. They don't do yearly, so it sounds hectic. You're like, shit, $2 million. They're like, it's a 4-year deal, so it's like $500k a year, which is like unders for an Origin player. I'm happy for Rob Toya to get this long-term deal because he has, like, first of all, I think he's one of the best defensive centers in the competition. That's why he got selected in Origin. He's unbelievable. But I actually think we just haven't even seen close to his potential. Like, he's a gun, bro.
So good.
So good. So what are your thoughts on the Roosters locking him up?
I think you got to build for the future, and that's it right there, right? And yeah, he's one of the best defensive centers in the comp. I think he's just so calm, composed, but he also shows intent. Like he's always he's getting up, he's taking away space, defending on his own terms. And for someone who's that young, like you're making, a fullback at the back make a decision. Like you're dictating that, and like to be that young and doing that is crazy. So he's only going to get better, I think.
Man,
the rich get richer, the Roosters.
Oh, of course.
And I think he'd know, like, let's say it is $500k a year or whatever. If he comes out and backs up what he did this year and played Origin and had such a brilliant year, there'll be upgrades on this upgraded contract in the next 2 to 3 years if he backs up his season.
Yeah, absolute gun. If you ever want to watch a good centre defend, like checking the front runner, then sliding out to the back runner, watch Rob Toya do it. He is just like the king of making the right call and making sure that lead runner is checked, stays square, and just slides out to the back. He's just so good at it. So, like, the amount of times his legs tackled an overs centre or an overs fullback, it's just like, it's a thing of beauty. Outside of that, I think, anything else going on? Before we wrap her up in the face of music, I'll just... okay, here's a question for you. What club missed the 8 last year? Do you think of best chance of making the 8 this year?
Oh, close out, baby. The West Tigers.
So you're in that camp now, bro. Okay, wow. Okay.
I would be more scathing of you leaving the Raiders and supporting a new side, but the pain this is going to bring you supporting the Tigers next 5 years, that's punishment enough. So you know what? I'm just going to let it slide.
I'm trying to soak up all, new season, what do you expect? After round 3, I'm going to be like, freak. So I'm going to soak it up right now.
You're in the hype phase, bro. You're in the hopium. Outside the top 8, who do you reckon to make it?
There's 2. If the Rabbitohs can have some luck with injuries, there's absolutely no reason why they shouldn't be playing finals football. And I think the Dolphins are ready. Again, they were so close this year and they had a torrid run of injuries. Isaiah Katoa's getting better and better. Yeah, I think the Bunnies and Dolphins come in.
I'm Dolphins. If they can stay injury-free, if they can go into the year full strength and stay mostly injury-free, like they're going to be a problem for teams. They scored the most points last year, which is insane to think. I think it's Dolphins. Matty, who you got?
Yeah, Dolphins are probably the favourite. I think South will make it as well. But if I had to throw in a team that you probably haven't mentioned yet, I reckon Para a good chance. I reckon they were one of the form teams of the competition at the back end of last year, but everyone forgets about it because they didn't they were never in contention to play finals. But they had a one blip game against South, but I think they beat the Bronx. They smoked the Roosters. They were gun at the end of the year. So as long as Moses can stay fit, I know this whole Lomax thing throws a bit of spanner in the works, but I reckon, I don't know if they'll make the finals, but I reckon they're a good chance of dramatic improvement.
Yeah. Okay, it's time for Face the Music, brought to you by our friends over at Sportsbet. Okay, our tips for the Ashes series. Who's going to win the series, by how much, and all that good stuff. Okay, winner. Obviously, I'm going Australia, and I'm going to go Australia 3-1.
I'm going to agree with the cricket mastermind here. I'm going to go Australia 3-1 because I wouldn't have a clue.
Australia 4-0. The only reason stopping us from 5 will be there'll be a washout in somewhere. Probably Sydney, based on history, so 4-0.
Okay.
5-0 Australia.
5-0?
Yeah.
Wow, I like it. Okay, most runs in the first innings. I'm going to go my boy Marnus.
Oh, mate. You've read my mind.
Smudge, Steve Smith with his form. Absolutely.
Okay.
First innings of this test, I'll go Steve Smith.
Okay. Most wickets in the first innings. I'm going to go my boy Boland to absolutely dominate.
It's like we're on the same wavelength.
You're taking my position.
I reckon he'll take 7 wickets in one, and then he won't get any for the rest of the series.
Oh, shit. Really? Boland's going no wickets for 4. Oh, wow. Huge call. I like it, though.
The worst take of all time.
I like it. Hey, that's a gutsy call. That's a gutsy call, bro.
Look, I was going to go Scotty Boland too, but just to be different, I'll go Stark.
I'll go Doggett. Set on debut.
Nice.
Have a good match.
Okay, that's Face the Music, brought to you by Sportsbet. Guys, do not forget, huge Grumpy sale from November 24th to the 2nd of December. 25% off 1 kilo bags. And also, we've got a bundle, 25% off capsule bundle. Make sure, don't miss it. And also, Code Sports at the moment for Bloke community members, $19 for the whole year. Don't miss that out. Mate, the TikTok. Remind people where they can go, where they can follow you.
If you want to watch one of the best TikToks of all time that doesn't have a podcast, I'm easy. TikTok, get there, watch it, comment, hate, whatever. We'll take the engagement.
Get around it. Thanks for joining us, bro. Really appreciate it. We'll obviously have you on in the future. And we'll all go fuck ourselves. Thank you.
Thank you.
What's gambling really costing you? For free and confidential support, visit gamblinghelponline.org.au.